Hello and welcome to another episode of Video Game Logic. Today's show was recorded on May the 16th, 2017. I'm your host, Gaming Psychologist, and with me, as always, the background track to my soundtrack.
Oh my, Caffeine Rage.
On today's show, we will of course be discussing the games that we played. Alan Wake has been pulled from digital storefronts. Prey will not receive a demo on PC. Valve makes some changes to trading cards. We'll have our weekly community core, which has a Fonzie.
Hey!
From someone that I know in real life. And we also will have our weekly
poor person.
Timestamps will be in the show notes following the respective topics. How are you today, Rach?
Doing alright. I'm actually in the very, very early parts of my day because prepping for next week.
Yeah.
Hopefully it shouldn't impact the recording next week of the show. If I'm too much of a grumpy pants, I will just, say put out a Franken episode and be done with it.
Yeah, and you've definitely earned a Franken episode on your behalf. What with all of my being gones and reschedulings and things, you've deserved your own break.
Yeah, considering how often I've played Hurt.
Oh. Well, I'm feeling pretty swell. I mean, we got a later start than I actually intend us to, but there really is, nothing in the news this week, so we had to spend a long time figuring out what we were going to do with the show. But this is the first week that we're recording at our new recording time, which is 9:30 Eastern Standard Time.
Actually, it's daylight time.
Is it Eastern Daylight Time now?
Yes.
Whatever, it's GMT minus 4.
Hey, that's important for international listeners.
It is.
Of course, in the wintertime, it doesn't really matter because, that's standard time, but
Yeah. But anyway, so I'm a little bit more fresh than I have been. So I'm
yes, you have been. Oh, you mean you're awake?
Yeah, I'm a little more awake than I have been in the past. So I'm looking forward to tonight. Plus, we're much more settled in our house this week. We're getting ever closer to having things roughly done. I ordered a bunch of stuff on Amazon yesterday for my office, and then a few other things. Like I told you, I ordered a new SSD for my laptop. Mm-hmm. Yeah, my hard drive is failing. It failed all of the smart tests. So I'm like, you know what? I'm just gonna pull off all of the data off it preemptively.
In other words, it's the perfect voter.
Oh, you.
What can I say? I had one of those moments where I got just enraged yesterday reading the news.
Yeah, I felt that way the last few days. But anyways, so I ordered a bunch of new stuff for the office. I'm going to have 3 PCs set up in here. I've already got 2 set up. One's my main rig, and then I've got my render machine set up now on my desk instead of on a shelf. Okay over there?
Yeah.
Don't die on me, buddy. But I've already got
that's
one
next
of them.
week.
I've got my render machine set up, and then I ordered a couple of new hard drives to go into my server machine, or my home server machine. So, yeah, this is gonna be fancy. I'm not sure what I'm gonna do with this PC though. It's fucking huge. This is like a full ATX tower.
Wait, who's huge? Oh, besides you.
But this is a full-size ATX tower. I got it from my dad's office because he replaced a bunch of his PCs, and so it's meant to be a server computer anyways. And so I've been rebuilding the guts in it over the past few months, just like a part here, a part there, that sort of thing. So it's going to be a nice home server computer. And I can finally get all of these external hard drives off my desk and free up a little more space to put, I don't know, some more shit that's just going to take up that space. But I'm going to build like a little tower to hang all of my headsets off of, and that's probably where that's going to go. Going to be handy. Make something out of wood with tools. And then it'll look like shit, so I'll throw it away and buy something.
Just, well, if you need something to hang your headset on, just get a banana holder. No, not that type of banana holder. The type for the produce.
Yeah, no, I thought about that, and I also thought about getting one of those coffee cup stands that you can put 4 or 6 coffee cups on. Because I've got multiple headsets that I use for different things, for different computers and devices, and so I just wanted to have one central place to put them all. And I was like, it actually might look okay if I put a stand and put everything on my desk in one place.
Just get a coat rack and just hang it low on the wall.
I considered that too, but I wanted it to sit on my desk because I'm putting some shelves up above my desk to put a combination of work stuff and other decorations. I have my own corner of the office that I can decorate with nerdy things. So all that shit I've got that's been sitting in boxes for years at this point is going to have a home again. It's going to have a home again on the shelf. I am throwing away some stuff. I used to keep a lot of stuff that I'm like, yeah, it's just garbage or clutter now. But
in other words, throw away. You mean I'm going to get a box in the mail in about 2 months.
If you want it.
If you have something interesting.
I don't know. I've got a bunch of old Nintendo stuff back when I used to be a bigger Nintendo fan than I am now. And I'm probably going to get rid of most of that. I think I'm going to keep all the plushies because they're cute. And I like cute things. But most of the rest of my Nintendo paraphernalia I'll probably get rid of.
And I'll have to virtually pick through it, I guess.
Yeah. When I get it all out, I'll take some pictures. I've also got all my Halo stuff, and I'm going to get rid of some of that stuff. I'm not as big a Halo fan as I used to be. I'm just more interested in the
don't worry, I'm not either. Not as well.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll get to that soon. But so yeah, I got it all figured out. I need a bigger and a better desk. My desk got damaged a little bit in the move, so I need a new one, bigger, better.
Why don't you get one of those fancy standing desks and never use that for each of it?
I actually would love to have a standing desk. I stand up all the time at my office at work because I have a desk that's 2 levels. I don't know why it's that way, but I usually set my laptop on the top level because I've got your standard office computer.
I've seen the fancy ones that you press the button and it has all the hydraulics that just goes and it raises up.
No, I would love one of those.
That would not work for me because, one, I'm lazy and I just sit down all the time. But 2, you have to wire things a certain way, and I would be afraid that I would hit that and it would start to go up, and I didn't have enough slack in my monitor, so my monitor just slowly tilts back. Yeah.
Sometimes, actually, I stand up in here and play video games. I'll just tilt my monitor screen as far back as it'll go. And it's only games I'm playing with a controller. There's no way I can do keyboard and mouse like that without.
At least with that attitude.
Moving. But I've played a lot of games standing up at my desk because I sit all day. I mean, my job is to sit, and now I sit and drive around all day. So I take any opportunity I can to stretch my legs. I stood up for 2 hours today doing paperwork at the office, which is when I had that conversation with Amy, which we'll get to in Community Corner.
Yeah, you found Amy.
Yeah, not that one. Although the similarities in lifestyle are very striking. It might be that one, and she's just in disguise.
Hiding from Biff. She feared for her life, so she escaped to Japan and went to the United States.
And we did have one very long conversation once about what it's like to be a therapist and do therapy, and she was very interested, so maybe she changed her career path. I think I was still in grad school when we had that conversation, too. It's been a couple of years ago now since Kerblecast has gone the way of the dodo.
Well, simple. Just next time you see her, walk up and say Homer to your mobile. And if there's any response other than, what? Then, it's the code phrase to, Amy, is that you? I mean, Amy?
I'll ask her. I really will next time I see her in the office. But so somehow let's just go talk about games. Rach, what games did you play this week?
I've got 3 this week. Let's start off with the Sunday Sampler. Dead Cells, a 2D Metroidvania roguelite, or Roguelvania, I think they were calling it. And
Roguelvania? Okay.
And
Sorry.
if I listen closely, I think I could hear you immediately lose interest. Is this what it's like whenever? Is this what the sound that you hear whenever you start talking about Factorio?
Pretty much, yeah.
Okay.
When you said Metroidvania, Roguelvania, my brain just went, "That's fucking stupid."
It's one of those,
and then turn off.
I could definitely see where they're coming from, but I definitely disagree with calling it a Metroidvania roguelite, because it does have the playstyle of a Metroidvania style game. But one of the key aspects of the Metroidvania genre was a huge sprawling map, and as you progress through it, you unlock various upgrades or various power-ups depending on the particular game that you're playing. And it unlocked new portions of the map that you could go explore. Well, it's the combat style. It's a 2D action RPG, or action platformer, I guess is the proper term for it. And as you progress, it has very small levels for a Metroidvania style game, and you unlock permanent upgrades. So technically, it does feel that a particular niche or that particular aspect of Metroidvania, but it's on different runs. So it's one of those things that I don't agree with how they're categorizing it in principle. just because I'm a stickler for that, I guess. But
okay.
They also I've just lost you on this, but I'm going to win someone else on this. They also mentioned combat being very Dark Souls-like. And if you listen closely, you could hear Kyle perk up. And I could definitely see that, because it's a very deliberate combat. I won't say that it's sluggish or slow like Dark Souls is. Or it has that weight behind it. But I definitely see how it's very deliberate, how you have to approach different enemies in a certain way. So I definitely get that aspect of it. And I actually like that aspect, which makes me think that maybe I would like Dark Souls if it wasn't, Dark Souls and I got burnt out on it just by listening to people talk about it. But Dead Cells is one of those games that it's in very early access right now. It's going to go through about a year's worth of early access, and I got a review copy very early in the run of it. So there's definitely a lot of room for it to improve, but so far, it's actually really good. And I could actually hear the shock, because I think you were expecting me to start just ragging on this game.
Not really. I mean, I was expecting you to go, "It's really good," but I wasn't hearing anything from you that was going to make you say, "And this game is a huge steaming pile of turds."
No, that's the next one on my list.
Okay.
But it's definitely very light in content still, there, or at least so far. Granted, my biggest comparison I could give to this is Rogue Legacy, where it's an action platformer in a constantly changing castle. Actually, this is a castle as well, so the comparison to Rogue Legacy is a lot more appropriate than you may expect. But the difference between this and Rogue Legacy is that you could grind out the upgrades a lot easier, because in Rogue Legacy you have essentially the starting village, and when you go in, you have to either use all your gold or you lose it. That's it. In this, you get through the first level, which is actually fairly simple after a couple of runs, just to get a feel for it, and also getting through it the first time, you pretty much immediately unlock a health vial that allows you to heal once per level. And there's also various little things which help you with health, which I'll get to in just a moment. And as you're killing enemies, you collect dead cells, hence the name, I guess. And you spend those on the upgrades. And the upgrades are a bit more grinding than what Rogue Legacy is, just because, it's the different way that they're handling it. But it also makes it so that, okay, I had a bad run. I lose all my progress because I didn't get enough gold. Instead, I didn't have a great run. I only killed a few enemies, but I could still put a little bit forward. So it feels a lot more satisfying to me.
Okay.
Okay, and the health system is also interesting. This is very Dark Souls-like, where only a few hits will kill you. A matter of fact, on my video I did of this, I got pinned against the wall by a shield guy, and he killed me in like 3 or 4 hits. But it's also, everything telegraphs their moves. And it doesn't feel like there's any dick moves, really. I should say unfair moves. Yes, there are dick moves in the game, but it's one of those things that if you know how to counter them or know what the enemy does, then it's not really a dick move. It's just, that Dark Souls aspect of knowing your enemy. So, how the health works is that, okay, you get hit and you lose a quarter of your health. Well, you don't immediately lose that. Well, you do immediately lose that, but you also start to slowly lose your potential health that you could have. And as you hit enemies, your current health refills back to that potential. So let's say I get hit by an enemy, I lose a quarter of my health. I go from full to 75%. Well, my potential health showing on the orange bar, I'm not sure what they actually call it because it's still in very early access, so it has no tutorial. It has very basic stuff in it still. But it starts slowly going down from 100% to 75. But as I hit enemies, my current health refills back up to that potential. So if I'm quick and I have a weapon that does a lot of damage very quickly, I could go, instead of losing down to 75%, up to, let's say, 80, 85%. So it does reward you for doing a lot of damage, but occasionally getting hit, playing a little bit more risky than what a Dark Souls game would otherwise allow you to do so. And there's also little things. It's a roguelike game, so there's hidden things that you could get. There's runes in the walls that if you hit them, you'll maybe get some extra gold, which actually the shops are very infrequent in this game, which is a little strange for a roguelike game. And also, you typically want to hold on to a particular weapon, particularly if you've upgraded a lot, because that's just how the game goes. And all the weapons have various modifiers on them as well. So I could get a blood sword that deals twice as much damage, but also take twice as much damage. So if I see that, well, the blood sword may be upgraded quite a bit, but I may not want to take that because it's going from 4 or 5 hits down to 2 or 3 that I could take before dying. That double-edged sword, essentially, if you pardon the turn of phrase.
Right. Nope, I gotcha.
So there's that aspect of the shop may be useful, but then it may not. And also there's curses that you could get. There's scattered throughout the world occasionally. There's chests, and there's cursed chests, and there's non-cursed chests. Cursed chests are just, free loot. But the cursed chest will give you a curse on you, hence the name. And it'll be, well, at least so far, on my couple hours of playing, you pick up this item from the cursed chest, which is usually a very good item. They have to bait you into it. And you have to kill a certain amount of enemies without getting hit at all. You turn into a one-hit death. And it's one of those things that it rewards someone that's very, very good at the game, but I'm not good enough at it.
Right.
And you could also get the curse. So there's scattered throughout the world. There's essentially toll doors. A door that you need 1,000 gold or 3,000 gold or however much that's blocking off the item. That if you could pay the toll, or you could just break down the door and also get a curse on you, which is the same thing. Getting hit once kills you. It's very interesting. If you like Dark Souls, I think you would like this, particularly if you don't mind the roguelike aspects or roguelite aspects of it. It also has a branching path system, which is interesting. As you work through the game, and particularly after you get a couple power-ups, these runes that are the permanent upgrades that I was talking about, I've only gotten one out of... Well, the menu looks like it has room for 4, maybe 5 permanent upgrades. That unlocks different abilities. I got the ability to grow this vine out of the ground and climb up to a different area of the map. Well, up there was also a path to a different level. So it branches off from the main path into this alternate route that also has different enemies. It also drops different blueprints, which I actually didn't talk about the blueprints in the upgrade system. Essentially, enemies have a chance to drop a blueprint so that once you get to the upgrade screen, which is in between every level, so if you get one in the second level, you have to finish the second level, otherwise you lose the blueprint, which is part of the roguelite aspects of it. And then you spend the dead cells to unlock that item. And usually it's not very expensive. You could get it if you dedicate everything in a couple of runs. But anyway, in order to unlock everything, you have to take these different paths, which require you to get the different upgrades. And also, the different paths are also different difficulties. So the hidden sewers may be more difficult than the ramparts, for example. I haven't played enough of it to really get a feel of what's more difficult per se, just what's more difficult for my particular builds or how I have my run going. But it's been a very good game. It's one to actually keep an eye on.
Okay.
Especially if it's one of those games that's in a lot of different niches that if you're a fan of the Metroidvania style games, I think you'd love this. Even if you completely ignore the roguelite aspects of it, because there's a lot of exploration on it, and it feels like the old, I want to say Castlevania games, but I never played enough of them to really get a good feel of those. But that style of game, and it looks absolutely beautiful.
It does have a nice art style.
It has some really, really good pixel art on it, and a lot of really good effects to it. As you're going through the level, your character casts off light to let you see a little bit better. And just going through the doorways, you can see how the light changes on the levels, which is a nice little touch. Something that I don't think a lot of pixel art games really focus on is just the different lighting aspects and the different effects. And that's something that just is really shines, if, once again, pardon the turn of phrase in this.
Gotcha. You know, I'm gonna... Well, are you finished before I butt in and hijack this for a moment?
Yeah, or you could ask me a couple questions about it.
I don't have any questions to ask you about the game. That's why I said hijack this for a moment.
Okay.
You've been talking about Dark Souls a lot, and I've never
played Dark Souls that much. I've watched a fair amount of it, particularly because I had a friend that just was obsessive about it.
Yeah, I've never gotten into Dark Souls. I've played Dark Souls 1 and 2. I've never really gotten into them or liked them very much. Have you seen The Surge?
Yes, I have.
The Surge actually...
It looks very interesting, and they do some really interesting stuff on it.
I really want to play it, because it's... I mean, most people are saying it's roughly a sci-fi Dark Souls. And I'm like, alright, I'm in. I'm down for sci-fi anything.
Yeah, maybe it's just... some of the different aspects of Dark Souls. Maybe it's just, I need the different theme of it.
Yeah.
And also, I don't think I really care for the idea that, forced multiplayer come in and dick with you. That doesn't sound appealing to me.
Well, the sort of Dark Souls, like, really hard but fair games are sort of becoming a genre on their own.
Yeah.
And so I'm really happy to see some things that might be appealing to me in that genre. And I want to give Kyle some homework, and anyone else who listens that's a big fan of Dark Souls. Take a look at this game, because I trust your opinions more than I trust some random person on the internet.
Well, Total Biscuit had a very, very long video on the Surge pretty recently.
Okay, I didn't see that, but I've been way behind on my YouTube stuff, so that's probably why. But still, I'd love to hear from Kyle or anyone else in our audience who's a big Dark Souls fan. Just take a look at this game for me and tell me, like, is this a sci-fi Dark Souls, or is there more to it? And obviously, I don't expect you to buy it, but, watch some footage or something and give me a few minutes worth of your opinion. Because I'm seriously interested in buying this game, but I don't want to, like, step into it without knowing what it is.
Well,
I don't want to
I'm far
buy
too
it.
cheap to buy it for $50. I'm just going to wait for it to go on sale.
Yeah. I'll probably wait for it to go on sale regardless, but if this is what I think it is, I'd pay $20 or $30 for it, no problem. So, alright, I'm done hijacking. I just, like, Dark Souls kept coming up, and I was like,
well,
there's this game I want to mention.
Well, that's because it's that particular feel of combat, that you only have a couple hits, and there's a Well, it's not really in this particular game, but there's a certain weight of the combat. A more deliberate combat. I don't want to call it slow per se, because Dark Souls definitely isn't slow, but it's deliberate.
Right.
Which are two very different things.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Everything is very purposeful, and there are, like whenever you do something, you commit to it.
Yeah. Yeah, so. And that is in this game, where you have a window where you're vulnerable after you attack, and there's also a dodge roll that is like in Dark Souls, where there's an invincibility window in the dodge roll. Granted, I'm not sure if that's like that in Dark Souls. I do know that rolling is very important in Dark Souls, though, assuming that you have a character built for it, because I know blocking is also very important, as it is in this game, if you're built for it. So it's one of those things that it's definitely inspired a little bit by the combat, but I would say more the inspiration is from games like Rogue Legacy and, really the roguelite genre in general. And, of course, Metroidvania.
Yeah. Okay, cool.
Okay, so moving swiftly along, I shouldn't say we. I had a run with Dirt Rally over the weekend. I had a free weekend over the weekend, so I decided to try it out because I really like racing games. I had no idea why. It's just one of those things racing games I could just kind of chill out and play. And Dirt Rally, I didn't really enjoy my time with it, and I think it's because of my setup. Dirt Rally is a simulation game. There's really no way around it. It's not as strong a simulation, I would say, as something like Gran Turismo. It's still a little bit more on the arcadey side, where you're not tuning the individual gear ratios. You're more of the overall gears and that sort of thing. And the feel of the game is a lot more Gran Turismo than is the previous Dirt Rally or Dirt games in the Dirt series. And I didn't really care for it because I don't have a wheel. I was trying to play this with a gamepad, and it felt like trying to play the older Dirt games with a keyboard and mouse. Everything was just way too twitchy, which was disappointing for me because I really wanted to like this game.
Yeah, you're a big fan of the Dirt series. I mean, I like the Dirt games, but I would say that you particularly enjoy them.
Yeah, I like that style of racing. I honestly more prefer the rally cross style with an occasional rally game. So that it wasn't quite for me, but then again, there was rallycross in this as well. It's just whenever the Dirt series throws in some stupid game mode like the Gymkhana events or the drifting modes or whatever, it's just whenever I just don't care for them. But this, like I said, it's just way too twitchy with a controller, which was disappointing for me. Have you played Dirt Rally?
No, I have not.
Are you a fan of racing games at all?
Oh, dude, I love racing games. Have we had this conversation before? Yeah. But I'm much more of a sim racer.
Well, I think you'd love Dirt Rally then.
Yeah, I play Gran Turismo and Forza. They're my jam.
Yeah, Dirt is it's one of those games that if you're just playing it, you could feel the difference between a sim game and an arcade game. Just mostly in the way the car moves, how the weight gets distributed in the car.
Yeah.
And after the second turn, trying to take it in this game, it's like, okay, this is definitely a lot stronger on the sim side of things, and it's just my setup was just not built for it, which I'm really disappointed in. Granted, I think I could get into this game if I spent enough time with it, and it was a free weekend, so I wouldn't have enough time in it to begin with. But it's one of those things that, okay, this would require an investment of a wheel and getting set up with that, spending time to actually learn a sim game. And I'm not that committed to it.
Yeah. I should really buy a racing wheel. Well, I used to have one a long time ago, but...
Well, Katie's going to hate me now because you're going to spend a couple $100.
Yeah, good one's $200 or $300. I'll put that on the wish list. Maybe someone will buy it for me for Christmas or something.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind getting a racing wheel. I think I would more rather have a flight yoke, though. And get into flight sims. And once again, you could hear Kyle perk up.
Yeah. I need a HOTAS, too. Because I've just got
well, if you're into that sort of
joystick.
Thing.
Oh, I am.
Yeah, my joystick died on me whenever I moved it. Well, it was dead beforehand, but I just hadn't used it in ages. Which I know it sounds like a personal problem. But the potentiometer in it was shot. And I looked into it to try to see, could I replace this? Because I knew what the part was. I knew the problem with it. But because of the mount in it, I just couldn't replace it. I lost probably a $60 or $70 joystick because of a 50-cent part in it.
Oh, that sucks.
And granted, if I had a 3D printer, I could probably have fixed it. But, it's just one of those things that I just don't have access to those particular tools.
Right.
But we're way off course, aren't we?
We are.
We're going to get a time penalty.
That's all right.
But yeah, outside of the sim aspect, Dirt Rally is actually a very beautiful game. A lot of attention to detail. Granted, it's probably my biggest complaint about it. Art-wise, is the same problem that a lot of games have, is that, there's just not a lot of things on the side of the road because they focus so much on the road, so it doesn't feel like you're at a racing event. At a racing event, you'll have a lot of people on the side of the road. You'll have things on the side of the road. But in this, it's like you're almost in a post-apocalyptic world where everyone's dead. You're still racing for some reason. And that's a problem with the racing genre in general, really. Either you have, just essentially cardboard cutouts in the side of the road, little dots in the stand, or, there's no one there. I think that's going to be the next big thing for the racing genre because they're really at the point where the art can't get much better on the cars. The world is pretty much there. I think it's going to be the set dressing next. Yeah.
The most recent couple of Forza games have done some things to help with that, like having interactive track elements is the wrong way to say it, but things that you can see and change dynamically as you drive around and not just weather. But crowds are still very lacking. I don't know why that's so hard to do a good crowd.
I think it would be more the fact that, it's essentially a waste of resources for most people.
Yeah. Particularly on consoles, because most of my racing experience is from playing on consoles, so that could be one of the big problems.
Yeah, and that you don't have a lot of horsepower to spare. And whenever they do have the spare power, they'll use it to add another lighting effect, or add a little bit more smoke on the track, or a little bit more dirt on the track.
Yeah, cars have been beautiful for a long time in games.
I mean, cars have been passable for a long time in games.
Cars are really easy to do, though.
Yeah, cars are a very basic model. You don't need a lot of polygons on them. And then it really comes down to the damage modeling than anything else.
Yeah.
That's where a lot of the art goes into a car.
Yep.
Because think about it, a car is usually, either one color or just a set Liberty, and it's just... that's it. You don't really have to worry about much else. The lighting effects on, that's pretty much you're done.
Yeah. So, by the way, I just added a $350 racing wheel to my Amazon wish list.
I'm not getting that for you.
With a clutch pedal and a gear shifter.
Oh my.
Yep.
Are you going to get the racing chair as well?
Maybe next time.
I'm trying to think of anything else that really stands out in Dirt Rally. There's a lot of team management that I wish were in the previous games. As you race, your team levels up and gets a little bit better, and I think that would also improve your car in the long run. Oh, one thing that was interesting was the repair system in the game. As you race, you naturally have wear and tear, particularly if you run into a barrier at 120 miles an hour.
Right.
And in between races and in between heats, or at least the rallycross, in between stages for the rally section where it's, you racing against the clock, barreling down a dirt road at 70 miles an hour. Well, you have an hour worth of time. And you can set the game to, okay, well, focus on, getting the engine out of the driver's compartment. And anything that you don't have time for, builds up that damage. So it's one of those things that it's a very simulation-based repair system where, okay, well, you may not have time to repair all the lights on your car, so, you may go into a night track with only a few lights. Or, it's a night track, so you need to work on getting the bodywork fixed and getting the lights repaired, and your brakes may be a little bit more wear and tear.
That's nice. I really like that idea.
Yeah, I like that idea, and also the team management in general, where you could hire different crew chiefs and different engineers and mechanics to improve different aspects of the car, and also as they level up, those stats also improve, but it allows you to really focus. So, okay, let's say I wanted to focus more on rallycross than rally, which would be stupid in this game because it seems like rallycross is kind of the secondary thing, but yeah. You could build out a team that has a lot more experience with rallycross and a lot more experience with shorter tracks, so your repairs are a lot better because you're going to take a lot more damage because, you're doing a pit maneuver on someone doing 50 miles an hour. Hey, Rubbin's racing, right?
Absolutely.
But that different aspect of the game, I really like the management style of it, where you could fine-tune your team. And that's something that the Dirt series, at least what I've played of it, hasn't really been there. There's been team management overall and getting different deals and stuff, different sponsors, but there hasn't been anything of this detail. And I hope that the next Dirt game, assuming that it goes back more to the arcade style that I can actually play with a controller, has this system in it.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, I'm surprised that you didn't try Dirt Rally over the weekend.
I didn't even notice that it was up for a free weekend, honestly.
I guess I'm going to have to tell you whenever there's a free weekend.
I'm a much bigger fan. I mean, rally and rallycross and all that's okay. I'm a much bigger fan of GT racing. So, and things like that. So
you would prefer more of grid than dirt?
Yeah. I mean, I love grid. I've played through grid 1 and 2 before, and a lot. And like I said, I played a ton of Forza.
What was it, Super Sport? Or there was another grid game.
Another grid game?
Yeah.
Super Sport.
There was another grid game after 2 that... because the big thing was that 2 didn't have the in-car camera.
Yeah, I can't do that. I have to be in-car. The only racing game I've played in the last 15 years that I haven't done the in-car view was Test
Grid
Drive Unlimited
2.
And it's because that was terrible.
Yeah, Grid Autosport. I don't really race in-car often. If I do the car cameras, it'll be the either the hood or the roof cam. But Grid 2 didn't have the in-car camera at all. And Grid Autosport has it where they have you focused on the road if you're in car. So it has a blur on the dashboard, which just feels awful.
That's stupid.
Yeah, let's see.
Why would there be a blur on the dashboard? It's moving at the same speed you are. It's relative to you, it's stationary.
It's meant so that you're focusing on the...
Oh, like tunnel vision.
Yeah, tunnel vision. I'm seeing if there's a screenshot here somewhere, and I don't see it. I'm going to have to... I need you to see this. Grid Autosport. Grid Autosport in-car view. There should be something here. Here's a good example of it. This, I think, is undoctored. All right, I'm just gonna. Hopefully, this doesn't crash Skype whenever I send you a link.
Oh, that actually kind of hurts my eyes to stare at it.
Here's another example. As a matter of fact, the gauges do not move, which is also terrible.
Yeah, that is terrible.
I mean, look at the speedometer in the middle of the second one.
Yeah, it's all the way down at 0.
Never mind the fact that the HUD one shows 201 kilometers an hour.
Yeah. It's like, what, 120 miles an hour? 125 miles an hour?
I think so. But yeah, it's... Granted, it wouldn't really affect me that much because I don't play in that particular view usually. But, it's terrible.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, I think they got some really bad reviews because of it.
But yeah, I mean, car fans like that kind of stuff. No, Grid fell off my radar a long time ago. I played Grid 1 all the way. Then I played Grid 2 a bit on Xbox 360.
Yeah, Grid 2 wasn't nearly as satisfying as Grid 1.
Yeah, and it wasn't as good, so I didn't play it a whole lot.
Yeah, I think I played that one on a free weekend as well, just to get a feel for it. It wasn't terrible. I think it's one of those games that I would probably pick up if it goes on deep discount. Maybe next time I will, because I am looking for another racing game. Or I could just, go back and play the ones I have. And that's the thing, is that I never really sit down and mastered the racing. I'll play through once and then play a few races over and over again. But I just don't like sitting down and playing the same race over and over and over again and getting that mastery level,
Yeah, I understand that.
Was it Grid 2 or Grid Autosport that had essentially almost a roguelite element to it for one of the races where they would have chunks of the road and they would essentially create a new race for a mode? Does that sound familiar to you?
That does not. So
okay, so probably Grid Autosport.
Yeah, probably. Okay. Well, are you ready to move on to your last game? Or?
I think so. I'm really stretching out my games I played this week, aren't I?
You are. We've met our entire expected time on your games.
So should I just skip this next one and be done with it?
I mean, if you really want to skip it, you can, but...
No, that's teasing you.
Okay.
Okay, I think I'm dropping this game from my channel, so it's time to start talking about Halo Combat Evolved again.
Okay.
This is one of those games. Maybe this is an example of you can't go back. Because there's a lot of just little design decisions that I absolutely hated on this game. Particularly, some of the almost feels like random deaths that I've had.
Okay.
Well, let's put it this way. On the, I want to say the second or third episode, I think it kind of set the theme of it, where I died because one of the Marines behind me got shot as he was throwing a grenade and blew me up.
That sucks.
The last episode I did, I died because I was trying to get out of a Banshee and I was just skimming the ground about 5 feet in the air. And I guess I had too much horizontal velocity. So when I got out of it, it said that I fell to my death. Or I came around a corner and there's a flood there with a fucking rocket launcher and he blew me up.
Yep, that does happen.
I mean, if I wanted to have random deaths like this, I'd be playing I Want to Be the Guy.
Pulling up your most recent video to see where you are.
I'm in the, I want to say the 8th or 9th chapter. I just had the big reveal, which it was spoiled for me because it's a decade and a half old game.
Yeah.
And I'm going through and I'm hitting the charge things in the canyons.
Yeah.
After essentially picking up Cortana again, which it doesn't make a lot of sense to me. Okay, I'm supposed to get Cortana off the ship, so I'm just going to leave her in some random computer somewhere for a few days, apparently.
Yeah, quite a bit of time passes in the story. The game doesn't.
Which doesn't feel like it. I mean, okay, you just said that I was gone for days. How?
Yeah, the game does not explain that very well. In the book,
the game doesn't explain anything very well. I mean, it's constantly throwing me terms Well, this is a Forerunner installation. Who the fuck are the Forerunners? Granted, I could go look that up because, I'm in the future now. It's not like 2001 where I'm, it's like, okay, who the fuck is this? I could go look that up on the wiki, but that's not good storytelling.
Yeah,
I do get that it's setting up a lot of the universe and, giving a lot of branching points, but that's not interesting to me.
This is an interesting thing that just popped into my head. Halo came out at a time when you still got decently sized manuals in the game, and a lot of stuff is actually explained in the manual.
May be my problem because
you get the
I was trying to figure out. Okay, how the hell are people supposed to know literally anything of what the fuck?
I mean, it doesn't explain everything because obviously, like, this came out and they didn't know that they were going to get a 10-game franchise and like 25 books and all that jazz.
Let's put it this way: I've been doing a little bit of reading between episodes, and the reason why it's called Halo Combat Evolved is that they thought that the term Halo would be too generic and nobody would know about it.
Yeah, yeah, but in the original game manual, it's like, I don't know, 35 or 40 pages.
Yeah, maybe this is just a problem of, being a modern gamer and going back to these games and trying to figure out what the hell is going on.
Yeah, and it's so hard to, like, I told you, because we briefly talked about this before we started, and I told you, like, I wasn't going to give you any shit for not liking it. Like, you're allowed to like and dislike whatever you want. And a lot of my answers and responses to the things that you're saying, like, I'm going, well, in the book or in the next game or in the remaster that they did, they fixed a lot of these problems and added explanations to the game. Like in the remastered version of Halo Combat Evolved, the
anniversary edition.
Yeah, the anniversary edition.
Which I'm not playing because this was the edition that was able to get it a little bit easier because you can't get the Halo PC version anywhere.
Yeah, but there's these little terminals that you can now access that just have information, lore and answers to questions and things like that you can just grab right there on your way through. So, but, that's not in the original edition. So,
yeah, which also those terminals, are kind of are very gamey. It's like, okay, so why is this here?
Yeah. I'm not sure why they didn't do something like that originally, though, because Marathon had some of that stuff, in-game explanations that you could find if you wanted to.
Hell if I know. And also, it feels like the combat is... it feels like I would have be doing more damage to most of the enemies. Well, if I'm not using the shotgun or the pistol, those are the two caveats. If I take off my helmet and spit at them, because at least that would be a biological fucking weapon, and that worked in War of the Worlds. My assault rifle has a 60-round clip of some fairly hefty caliber ammunition, which, granted, how the hell are they fitting that ammunition in that little clip? Hell if I know. Because, a 60-round clip should have been a lot bigger. But it takes a good quarter of the clip to drop even the tiniest of enemies. I mean, that's not exactly a high caliber weapon then, is it?
Yeah, what is this? So, you said the assault rifle's got a pretty hefty caliber weapon. I'm like, oh, let me just go Google this. And I typed in MA5B assault rifle, and I'm like, I know what the rifle is called specifically. 62 by 51 millimeter full metal jacket armor piercing rounds.
That's not the ammo that I was expecting it to use. I was expecting it to use little tiny rounds, but not those. Just based on the damage it does. Let's put it this way. I would expect the damage to be swapped between the pistol and the assault rifle.
Yeah, the original Halo pistol was legendarily overpowered.
That and the shotgun, which, granted, the shotgun also suffers from being a video game shotgun in that if I'm face to face to you and you shoot me with the shotgun, I'm dead. If I take 3 steps back, I take no damage. Okay, not that extreme, but still.
Yeah. The original Halo shotgun actually was, I mean, it still suffers from being a video game shotgun, but it's definitely more effective at range than later games versions of the shotgun. So it gets worse, actually.
Yeah, that's what it seems like. I've been looking into Halo stuff because the game's not telling me what the fuck is going on, so I gotta try to figure it out for myself. And I've been reading about. We nerfed the only good weapons in the game. Well, that doesn't make me want to play it anymore.
Yeah, the Needler is definitely your friend in Halo 1 for elites and things.
I don't like the Needler, mostly because, one, it has a lot of auto-aim, and usually that's not being friendly to me. And also, a lot of times it has that delay on it. And if something's charging at me, well, that delay got me killed at least once. Because I had one of the golden elites charging at me and I had the Needler out.
Yeah.
And also, maybe it's just the way the guns are designed, but everything looks like they're designed by Nerf for the Covenant. And I'm just thinking, there has to be a mod somewhere where the dealer starts just shooting darts. Nerf darts.
I'm sure there is. I've never seen one, but I'm sure it exists.
And I realize, sci-fi weapons, tend to either fall into the Star Wars blaster type of weapons or the Nerf gun. And Halo is definitely in the Nerf gun area. And it just makes everything feel a little bit less weighty than what it should be anyway. It's kind of funny how we're going back to weighty weapons. And I realize that this is a decade and a half old game, so my expectations are... I need to temper them a little bit more than what I would expect for a modern game. But still, the assault rifle is just criminally underpowered.
Yeah.
Maybe there's an universe reason for it. Maybe the Earth, the military, they just...
The UNSC, United Nations Space Command.
Whatever. They had this inside deal, and whoever provided the weapon... I'm pausing so you could fill that in.
Actually, it's never mentioned who actually builds the guns. They're just manufactured by the UNSC or provided to them. I can tell you the in-universe reason why it's terrible, though.
The lowest bidder.
No, it's because aliens. Like, that's literally like, yes, this assault rifle is great against human body armor. Oh no, aliens! And then they kind of retcon it and take it away in later games and replace it with better guns. And then when it comes back in Halo's 3 on, it's a lot more powerful. No, sorry, not Halo 3, Halo 4 on.
Well, let's just put it this way. It doesn't matter because I can't play that on PC anyway.
That is true. That is true. But yeah, it's just a bad gun. It's alright for grunts and jackals and blue elites, but actually it's pretty decent against the Flood. They're weak against bullets, but...
Yeah. Yeah, which honestly, though, usually whenever I run into the Flood, which the Flood are usually more of an annoyance than anything else until, one hits me with a shotgun blast at point blank range because he came around the corner and, I didn't know that Flood was going to be there, so guess I'm reloading.
Yeah.
Which is incredibly frustrating. I realize it's old design, but that doesn't make it any better.
How did the scene when the Flood first arrived? Because I'm behind on your video, so I haven't seen your reaction or response.
When they first arrived, when it was just the little, let's just call them what they are, head crabs.
Yeah, they're pretty much head crabs.
When the head crabs showed up, they weren't bad. They, kill a couple and the rest just pop because they have a little bit of an AoE effect to them.
Yeah.
Then I got to the library and they started to really get annoying because they had the Marines with the shotguns that had been turned. They had all the blasters and also the let's just call them what they are, boomers that come up to you and explode.
Yeah, but didn't they predate boomers?
I think so. I'm pretty sure they did. I'm not sure what the
I mean, it doesn't really.
Well, yeah. Well, it's I'm using terms that I know.
Yeah, that's
I'm
fair.
not saying that they ripped off boomers. I am saying that they ripped off head crabs though.
Oh, they totally ripped off head crabs. No, yeah, no argument for me on that one.
But yeah, I'm just using the terms I know. But I've had the boomers blow me up a few times. The big ones were just getting hit by enemies that had high powered weapons that I had no way of knowing that they were there, or just getting blindsided because they threw a grenade that I didn't see, or because I didn't know they had grenades. And since since it's a flood, they don't give that warning of incoming.
Yeah, and there's no grenade icon either. This is before grenade icons were a thing.
Yeah,
so you had to pay attention.
Yeah, and the thing is, if it's a frag grenade, there's no glowy splatter on the screen either.
Nope.
And just all the random deaths really soured me on the game. That, and also the only vehicle section I really liked was the tank, and that seems to be the one everyone hated.
I like the tank section.
I like pretty much the Warthog.
I love the Warthog.
The Warthog feels like I'm driving a Rover on Minmus. Before the traction control update for KSP.
Yeah, I loved that. I loved how slidey it was. It's less that way in future games because that was a huge complaint from a lot of people. But I always loved the original slidiness of the Warthog.
The fact that I parked the Warthog and I watched it just slowly slide down the hill, no.
Yeah.
I mean, I realize that the Halo, I assume it's low gravity, either that or Halo is, sorry, Master Chief is really good at his hang time and he is aping the Matrix.
Probably the second one. Master Chief is legit. But no, the main reason I asked about the flood is just like to see what your reaction was, because I played this when I was a kid. I think I was
I found the flood to be more of an annoyance than anything else.
I think I was 10 or 11 when I played this, so not only was I a kid, but it was the first time that I'd ever seen anything done this way before. And so, like, the flood, scared the shit out of me when I was a kid. Because they really do what I think is a pretty good job of setting up the tension and that whole scene before.
The first-person recording.
Yeah. And, I mean, if, in a vacuum, like, if you didn't know anything about the game, it's like,
can you explain
what's going on?
Can you explain to me one thing?
Yeah.
Okay, that's a digital recording, right? Well, why is there the VHS lines? Yeah, whenever he's fast forwarding.
I've never thought about that. Probably just one of those things to connect it in people's minds a little bit more that this is a recording. Because this game came out in, 2001? Yeah, so. Yeah. But.
Maybe the technology in the Halo universe just sucks.
I don't know. They even in like all of the extended universe stuff, there's no real it's kind of just like Star Trek or Star Wars tech. It just jumps around, and sometimes they have things that are like, holy crap, that's amazing, and then sometimes it's like, what? This is supposed to be like the year 2550. Why do you still have this technology? Why don't you have this kind of technology? So they don't really have very consistent stuff. They kind of do the hand wave thing. Just like, this is the way it is. This is technology. Accept it. Because
it's just one of those things that maybe it's a combination of me having higher standards, having higher expectations than the game could provide, it being a decade and a half old game, and it pulling some mechanics and some design choices that honestly just piss me off. All the random deaths. Just really soured my mood on the game to the point where I just don't want to play it anymore. Even though I'm probably an hour and a half, 2 hours away from the ending.
Yeah, you're pretty close to the end of the game. You've got, I think, 3 more levels left.
Yeah, the last, I'll tell you exactly where I am. Breaking stuff to look tough.
Okay, yeah. Yeah. I forget what the mission's called where you've got to go rescue Captain Keyes. But that's next, and then after that is the Maw, which is the last level of the game. So you've got 2 more levels left.
Yeah,
but I mean, there's
just a lot of things that just don't make sense whenever I look at it. Particularly the stuff with Cortana. It's like, why leave her here? Why? This is This is your one purpose in life. This is your one job.
Yep. And they do, they do retcon it in the books and things and make it all make more sense. But yeah, when it came out, this was what you were given. Yeah. I really should go back and play all the Halos again to see it, because it's been years, 2 or 3 years since I've played them all the way through. I should see how well they hold up now that I'm older and my tastes have changed and things, because I might be lining up more on your side with the actual games,
especially
nowadays.
whenever especially with some of the points I'm making, I guess.
Well, I mean, you're making a ton of valid points, and I'm going, yeah, I've never thought of it that way, because the last time
I'm sorry, but it's a dick move to make me go slow through an area. Then because I went too slow on an area, there's this flood right there with a rocket launcher, and I can't dodge it.
Yeah, the library is a bitch. I never liked the library.
This wasn't the library. This was the last video I did.
Okay.
This was breaking stuff to look tough. That mini chapter, I guess, and also the fact that you're low health. Doing this brings your shields down, and we're going to flood this area with sentinels.
Yep, every time right after.
Yeah, I mean, dick move, particularly because I was low ammo as well. I don't know if was my ammo changed in between loading and saving, but the fact that that's something else that pissed me off was that every single level they completely changed your loadout. For times makes absolutely no fucking sense why. Okay, I got teleported. Where the hell did my shotgun go?
Yeah.
I mean, I understand sometimes why why my loadout would change. Okay, I'm on a transport and we're going to do a mission. It makes sense for me to have a sniper rifle. Granted, I don't know why would you give me a sniper rifle when the pistol does even more damage, but what the hell? I guess the sniper rifle has night vision. Wait a minute. I have a fucking helmet on. Why doesn't that have night vision on it?
Yeah,
I just get this little pissy flashlight that can't shine 3 feet in front of me. As a matter of fact, modern flashlights have a better luminosity than this thing.
Yeah.
Better
lights.
Better question. Why does the flashlight have a 1 minute battery life on it?
Yep. Game design at the time, because all of those things, most all of them go away in future versions of the game as game design develop or change.
I mean, I realize some of these are just ancient game design. As a matter of fact, Half-Life 2 had it where the flashlight was limited. But that's also a secondary function of the hazmat suit that you're in. And the thing is that the hazmat suit isn't combat armor. That's also something very different when you compare Half-Life 2 and Halo Combat Evolved, is that there's a role of what you're wearing to begin with. Granted, it is supposedly modified in Half-Life 2, but it's still the basic, this is a hazmat suit that, is basically being used because you don't have combat armor. And this is 2550. You have, I'm not sure if it's top of the line combat armor for, that time of the universe. Paul,
it is.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
So, I would expect it to be better.
Yeah, the Master Chief has got literally the best armor in the game, or not in the game, in the books. Like, they make multiple references to, like, we could have built a fucking battleship for what it costs us to make this armor for you.
Boy, their technology sucks.
Oh. All right.
But yeah, I think I'm going to be dropping this game. I just, it's one of those things that I'm trying to play it, and all the little things just, it's the Skyrim syndrome, where yes, I understand that people love this game and it's supposedly timeless. Boy, this sucks. I'm not having fun with this. Can I play something else? Oh, wait a minute. I'm not playing this for Game Club. I can.
Yes, you can. Yes, you can.
So I'm likely dropping this, put maybe some random filler this week, and or maybe just leave the slot open and find something that's actually fun to play.
Go for it. I believe in you. Have fun.
I guess that means I won't be playing Halo.
All right.
And just wondering how much is your opinion of me dropped because I hated Halo so much.
None. None. Like I said, you're your own person. You do you. You like what you like. I like what I like. And a lot of times we like the same.
In the middle.
Yeah. Occasionally we both like the same thing. But things that I liked. So I have one I liked and one I disliked. I finally got my account verified on Keymailer, so I've started getting review keys from them too. And I got 2 this week. Like I said, one of them I liked, one of them I didn't like. So the first one is Captain Kaon, which is a cross between Lunar Lander and then some kind of shooter game. Part of me wants to say a shmup, but it's nowhere near as hectic as a shmup. So I don't think shmup is the right way to describe it. But
maybe I should have played this because I have a review copy of this one.
Yeah, so the story hook is these aliens invade and they send all of the best technology and ships and crews and everything to go fight the aliens, and you're just this guy who's left over, and you're the only person around who knows how to pilot a ship. And the aliens found Earth, so now they're invading Earth, and all of the fleets are away, and it's up to you to stop the aliens and recapture all of our stuff from them.
Gotta say, the trailer does not make this look very good. Particularly, it looks like they didn't do a good job at doing a stroke on their text, so it just looks terrible.
Yeah. This is not a very good game.
Wow, it must be terrible for you to say that.
It's just not a very good game. It would be okay. The biggest problem is the Lunar Lander aspect. You know how in Lunar Lander the goal is to pick a landing zone, and you're constantly dropping, and you have to use your thrusters to land properly and not crash.
Yeah,
that's this game. You're constantly dropping. I don't know if there's a mission where there is no gravity, so you're not always falling to the ground. And you're constantly having to boost yourself back up and maneuver around and avoid through things. And you have to solve puzzles in order to progress through the levels. And then also you have to fight and kill enemies and not get blown up. And every time you crash into something, you take damage. Crash into the ground, take damage. Crash into a wall, take damage, etc., etc. And it's just why?
Oh,
why
God.
did you need this?
A lot of this looks like it's also or at least part of it, you have to ferry cargo around, and that's swinging under you. I imagine that impacts your motion.
Actually, it does not. It just swings around.
Really?
Yeah, it doesn't impact the way that your vessel controls.
I'm watching the trailer of this. There's a section where you have to go through crushers.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Yeah.
And also, this game looks like it has bad graphics for the 90s. I mean, we talked about the pixel art on Dead Cells, how it's done really well. Well, this is kind of the opposite of that, where it's a retro-inspired art style that just doesn't age that well, and it looks like it's more of a crutch for a lack of art lack of art a skill than it is for a conscious design choice.
It's not that bad. I mean, it's certainly not great. But when you're actually playing it, it looks a little bit better than it does here. I don't know if it's video compression or what, but...
I'm just looking at particularly how all the art is tiled. Because on some of the screenshots, you could see the same lineups of how different ways the level is tiled. And it makes it look a lot more repetitive. As a matter of fact, on this one screenshot, I could see the same tile 5 or 6 times.
Yeah. I mean, it's all like that all the way through. I mean, there are different tile sets, but it's incredibly repetitive all the way through.
Which was also a problem I had with Halo, which I didn't really talk about.
Yeah, so I tried playing this with both keyboard and mouse and controller, and it's not good on either one. It's slightly better on a controller than it is keyboard and mouse because you can, you don't have to go full throttle all the time when you're trying to maneuver around, but it's still bad. I mean, there might be a certain type of person who likes this sort of thing, but there's just so much shit going on all the time to even fly your ship and navigate the levels that I constantly was like, oh my gosh, I just crashed because I was trying to shoot that thing and I forgot that I have to constantly accelerate so that I'm not going to crash into the ground. Though I got blown up because I forgot to dodge, because it does have a dodge. So I forgot to dodge because I was too busy trying to make sure to not crash into the ground and shoot the thing. And it does.
Just wondering, how strong is the gravity? Are we talking, like it's lunar lander, and you're constantly falling pretty quickly, or if you're not, or you have a pretty big acceleration if you're not actively trying to prevent that, or is it like kind of slowly drifting?
It varies from level to level. So the training
that would be annoying.
The training level it's very, very gentle. You don't really have to worry about it too much. Just every once in a while, tap the throttle, like maybe once every 5 seconds. That'll keep you roughly in place. But it's a little more than that in the first set of levels, and then in the next set of levels, it gets a little bit stronger. And then I think it was the third set of levels, it goes back down again so that there's less gravity. So it's not a constant. It changes based on where the level is that you are. So you can't even really get used to it. You can hold yourself in place for a few seconds. It's called the air brake or air stabilizer or something. And it's like it fires all of your thrusters at once and your ship stays in place, but you can only do that for a few seconds before it shuts off and has to have a cooldown.
Of course.
It's just not good. It's just, I think it would be an okay game with a kind of a fun little sci-fi theme, because there's some humor that it tries to throw in there, but it's not like cringy humor. They actually, it seems like had someone who knew how to write their jokes, but it's just, there's just too much going on with the controls.
They threw too many aspects of it.
There's just way too much.
If they didn't have, I would say, just looking at this screen, I haven't played it, even though I do have a review copy. If they had it where, if they didn't have the puzzle aspect, so, it was just moving around, or if they just had the puzzle aspect and you didn't have to worry about as many enemies, because there are a fair number. It's not bullet hell.
Yeah.
But it's definitely, it's definitely something that requires your constant attention.
Yeah. Actually, I think this would be a great puzzle game. If you take out all the enemies entirely and just make it a puzzle game, I think those mechanics work really well for a puzzle game. But trying to do the puzzles and fighting at the same time and control your ship is just like, no. It's just too much for me.
Makes this was an early access game, perhaps. I'm seeing some... Yeah, it looks like it was in early access for a long time, based on the number of reviews.
Yeah. So, I was wanting to do videos on both of these games, but I just didn't like this one enough. I'm not going to waste my time,
Oh, don't worry about that. Sometimes I just make a video on something I hate just to rip it apart.
Fair enough. But so yeah, that's Captain K, and I don't really have much to say about it because it's just not good.
Yeah, sorry. I keep hearing K-On, and I'm thinking of the visual novel.
Yeah, you said that to me earlier.
That's why I was kind of thrown off by at first.
Yeah. So the other game I played is Smash Pixel Racing. This is unfortunately a local multiplayer only. Hopefully they at some point add online play, because it's really fun. It's really simple. It's just a sort of side-scrolling game where you are in a spaceship and you have to maneuver around asteroids and laser turrets and debris and stuff inside this sort of lane. And there's different game modes, but they basically all amount to be the one farthest on the right of the screen. Because there's like a racing mode where the course is a set length, and either you have to be the last man standing or make it across the line first. Then there's a survival mode where you have to, you just survive for as long as you can. There's a couple of other modes, but it's really difficult to test without anyone to play it with. So I'm not entirely sure how the other couple of modes
Katie?
work. I guess I could try that out, but I haven't had a chance to play it with her. But it's just really simple, fun, and knows what it is. There's 8 or 10 different ships, but they all fall into 3 classes. Like, you've got the agile ship that's faster and maneuvers, but it's a lot weaker. There's the balanced ship, and then there's the ship that's like kind of slow and bulky, but it has tons of armor, so you can smash into a lot more stuff before you die. And And you've got a health bar and an energy bar, and the energy bar controls everything. So you pick up these little blue orbs that give you energy to use your boosters. So, like, accelerating.
So you can get further to the right.
Right, so you can go farther to the right. You don't need to use that booster power to maneuver up and down or brake, but that's the only way to actually move forward. And then you've got a shield that you have automatically, and it uses blue energy every time you smash into something until the energy's gone. And then you can also use blue energy to fire laser cannons to destroy debris or other players or things. And then there's just green energy that you pick up that replenishes your health. And it's got a good sense of speed. The farther to the right you go, the faster everything goes, which makes it feel like you're really picking up a lot of speed.
And also, I would imagine that you have a shorter reaction time as well, since you're going to the right anyway.
Yep. And the stuff that it throws at you is all completely random. So no two runs are going to be the same, which this is kind of that
roguelite element where the rate of generation.
Yeah, I was going to say it's slightly reminiscent of Race the Sun in that aspect. Because, going really fast for as long as you can. But, I mean, I don't have a ton to say about this game because it's super simple, but it's like it's got a concept, it knows what it wants to do, and it executes it perfectly.
This is something I've noticed, is that there's a lot of very simple local multiplayer-only games on Steam, and I think that there's definitely a market for it, but it also feels like they're missing the boat because, local multiplayer isn't something that's done on PC a lot. Granted, it is a nice bonus, and I love to see it whenever it's, especially when it's a feature on a console to PC port, to have it still there. But it feels like that this is a type of game that really would benefit a lot more being on a console, because that's typically the local multiplayer, couch co-op.
Yeah, I mean, this would be a great little game to have on my Xbox or Wii U or something. It's like whenever a company comes over, like, hey, let's spend 20 minutes doing a few silly races. It's got a really low skill floor. Like, anybody could figure out how to play this game in like 5 minutes or less. But the skill ceiling is really high because, there's so much stuff that, like different strategies. Like, do I push to the right or even in like survival mode, it's like, do I push to the right so that I'm moving quickly and progressing farther, sort of like down the line to get a higher score, but I run the risk of running into stuff or being surprised. Do I hang back so that I have more reaction time, but I might accidentally get trapped or something and I'm moving a lot slower, so I'm making less progress? It's good. It's super simple, but it's really tight. This is a really tight, mechanically focused game. And normally I don't go for that kind of stuff because I'm such a big story guy, but I mean, when it's done as well as this, I'm like, I'm in.
Granted, the Steam Link does make it so that these type of games can be couch co-opted a lot easier these days.
True.
It's one of those things that it just feels like it's on the... I hate saying it's on the wrong platform, because PC definitely has room for all these little couch co-op games. But I think that without really much in the way of online modes or a lot more single player stuff, it feels like it's kind of an empty experience for most gamers. Granted, this is an early access game, so I'm just quickly looking through to see if there's any additional stuff that they're planning on adding. I'm not seeing anything, at least off the bat, or at least for online stuff. But it is... I do like seeing this niche being filled out, and I hope that down the line, a PC does get more into the living room. I mean, that was the entire point of the Steam box in general, which kind of just fell flat because no one really knew that no one knew what to do with it because they marketed it to the wrong group.
Right. I will say that this game is controller required. You cannot get past the options menu, or you can't do anything outside of the options menu without a controller.
Yeah, which I don't see them mentioning that on the store page.
It's at the very bottom of the description. It says gamepads required. So.
Well, and it looks like they're behind in the early access as well. Actually, far behind. Because they said final release will most likely be in late 2016. Wait a minute.
Yeah, they're only in 0.15.
Ideally before the holidays. However, it may extend to early 2017. Yeah. Matter of fact, they haven't updated since January 11th, so this may be a dead game.
I hope not. It's a lot of fun. I'd like to see a couple extra features added to it. Online multiplayer for sure. A few more meaningful differences between the ships, because outside of the 3 basic types, it's all cosmetic.
Which may not be that big a deal since it is, a fairly simple game.
Yeah, that's true. But yeah, a lot of fun. I'll probably, if I'm like, I could play a game for like 10 minutes, I'll probably pull out Smash Pixel Racing and see if I can set a new high score on my survival run.
Wait, what? I'm trying to figure out why I have a achievement in this as well.
I had an achievement
at some point.
I had an achievement in this game before I even opened it, so I think it might be bugged. Yeah, I think it's bugged.
Yeah, because I don't think I played it. I know that the Idlers ran it because I see 2 hours on it, but I don't recognize it. Oh, no, on Captain Can. Sorry.
Oh, yeah. Captain Kaon. That's the one I have it.
Yeah, this has to be... Yeah, this has to be bugged. Whoops.
Huh. For some reason, Captain Kaon says I've only played it for 6 minutes. That's not true. I played it for a few hours. Weird. Yeah, it's probably just bugged. Okay.
Either that or they're trying to boost their achievement to trigger something that we may be talking about in a little bit.
Indeed. Holy shit, we've been going for nearly an hour and a half.
I blame myself.
Yeah, I blame you too. One of the rare instances I get to do that.
Hey, I had things to say.
We should take a short break before we go to the news section. I am roasting in here. I need to go turn the AC on. And I might as well fill up my water.
Well, I'll go do that as well.
All right. We'll be right back. Yeah, I was getting very hot. And I like it to be cold. Plus, I wanted some apple juice. So I got apple juice.
Admit it. You just like it to be cold so you have an excuse to cuddle.
I do like to cuddle. But, so yes. Let us move on to our news topics. I don't think, unless we go get long-winded, I don't think we'll have to do any news culling. The only thing that might take a hit is...
Franken episoding?
Yeah. And the only thing that might take a hit is Discovery Q, but we'll see. Anyways, Q. Anyways, our first news topic is... Alan Wake.
Alan Wake
is pulled from digital storefronts due to one of its music licenses expiring.
I think it sounds like most of its music licenses expired, and that's why it got pulled. Yeah, Alan Wake, a Game Club game as well.
Yeah.
And at first I thought they were saying, Alan Wake as the franchise and not Alan Wake as in Alan Wake. So I was telling you to pick up American Nightmare because, well, a little bit of a tease is that I think that may be the game that I'm going to be pushing for October.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have a problem with that.
Unless, something more appropriate pops up. But Alan Wake is, one of the major things about it is its music, especially at the end of the individual episodes, because, well, if you haven't played Alan Wake and you haven't listened to our Game Club episode of it, Alan Wake is divided up into essentially, well, nowadays we would call it the Telltale style of, 5 episodes, only Alan Wake it released all at once, and it's not individual games. So it's going from episode to episode. They have the end credits and usually some sort of music piece that fits the mood or is a teaser for how the next piece of the game is going to play out. And that's not even including the original soundtrack, which was fucking awesome.
Yeah.
If I recall correctly, they even had David Bowie in it.
I think they did, yeah. But the soundtrack to this game was awesome. They did a good job putting together an appropriately themed and sounding and mood matching and all that soundtrack. So
yeah, Alan Wake is just a masterpiece.
Alan Wake is a great game. Really, really good.
The only thing that I could really fault it for is the combat, but that's not really it's a game flaw as a I should say as a gamey feel. but it makes sense in the mood because Alan Wake, he's an author, and he's gone to the gun range a couple of times to fire a gun to be able to write about it, but he's not, someone that you'd want in this situation, essentially.
Yeah.
So it makes sense that, his the combat in the game is not particularly great. It's passable, but it's not great. But, it makes sense in the game. But the reason why we're really talking about this, well, Alan Wake is gone. I'm pretty sure that the time has passed, or at least by the time that the episode comes out, Alan Wake is gone from digital storefronts in general. And any new gameplay that you see will have Alan Wake's pirate eye patch.
Yeah. Yep, you can't buy it on Steam. The page is still there if you've got it in your library, but it's already gone from Steam. So it's probably also already been pulled from the Xbox store as well.
Yeah, which is hugely disappointing. And, well, Alan Wake isn't the only victim of this. Even in the next month, the Doctor Who adventure games, which, granted, aren't particularly great, are also getting pulled because of their licensing. Granted, that's not a music license, that's the IP itself. And not too long ago, San Andreas, whenever they did an update and actually broke a few things, they pulled some sound assets as well. They pulled out half a dozen different music tracks because the different licensing had ran out. So this is not an isolated incident, and I think this is going to be a huge problem coming up, where we are going to either lose games or have games absolutely butchered because rights have gone away. And these game companies, they can't really fight this because the record industry is hugely powerful. It's kind of ridiculous just how strong the record and the movie industries are. And, well, at least with American media.
Yeah. This is something that I've been a huge advocate for digital purchases for years. And there's always been well, what happens if your license, something happens and you can't have your game anymore because you're really just renting a license or what, that whole argument. And I've always been you know what, that's just one of the consequences you might have to pay. I've never thought about, well, what happens if the music license expires from your digital game and then it goes away or gets changed because, keeping the music in there when they could take it away would technically be illegal. So, yeah, I've never thought about this problem before now.
Yeah, and I think this is going to be something that we're going to see a lot more of, especially because licensed music is becoming a lot more common in games. Alan Wake was, well, I shouldn't say it's a forefather of it, but it's one of those that they can't really remove the music that easily without just changing the complete mood of the game.
Yeah. And you could make an argument well, they could go and find some new music that's royalty free or whatever, but it's
yeah, but why would they spend that much time?
Yeah,
that's the other flip side of it, is that you can't just say, okay, give me all the sound tracks that give the same feeling of David Bowie's Space Odyssey, because I think that was the soundtrack in it, or I may be mistaken. But it's the same idea of give me all the music tracks that give this feeling. That doesn't exist.
Yeah. Or if it does, it would take a long time to find it, and then you're spending money on this game that's 10 years old.
Yeah.
It's really difficult to justify. So, I don't expect companies to do that.
And it's also not, you can't just listen to a couple of seconds of a song and say, oh, that works. Each time you check out something, it's a couple minutes.
Yeah.
And that doesn't sound like a lot, but, you're have an intern sit there and listen to, 10 soundtracks. Well, that's a good chunk of an hour.
Yeah. So
it's just one of those things that we're going to have an issue with this. And I'm not sure if there's a way around it. Other than, be careful in what you buy.
Yeah, the one thing that I would say is if this is something that concerns you, you probably should keep buying physical at this point. They can't take music out of your physical game. Actually, that's not true. They could with a patch or something. So yeah, you're fucked.
Yep.
This is just a problem that you have to deal with, or we're going to have to deal with going forward. Indie games are probably going to be the most immune to it because they tend to, as small developers, have someone make music for the game or use royalty-free music or something like that. So maybe this is another reason if you want to be a bit safer or a bit more secure about it.
Well, also, it's kind of foolish on the developer, or I guess, would this be the developer or the publisher's part of whoever negotiates the license of have a timed license like this?
I don't know whose fault that would be.
But it does seem extremely foolish to say, okay, well, we want a 10-year license. Granted, I don't think anyone working on Alan Wake would expect it to be that big an issue. I'm not sure if they thought Alan Wake was going to be as big as it was, or as well received as it was. I mean, granted, I think every developer has this hope, but at the same time, it's you don't try to overestimate. Well, unless you're Square Enix.
Yeah, they probably, I mean, even then, this was starting to, like, in the right circles, like, hey, we're doing more digital stuff now. I wonder if this is going to be a problem. And probably they thought, well, we'll do this as a temporary solution, and then we'll deal with it in the future. And then, companies change, and things are sold.
That'll be a problem for tomorrow's me.
Yeah, that'll be a problem for future me. And then future me is looking back going, fuck you, past me. Why didn't you do a better job then? So... Yeah. I mean, I'm glad that they honestly, I'm glad that they're pulling it from stores as opposed to changing the game.
Yeah, true. And it was nice that they announced it at least the weekend beforehand and gave a 90% off sale.
Yeah.
At least on the PC version. I'm not sure if the consoles had the same luxury.
They definitely went on sale on the consoles because I saw it because I'm subscribed to r/Xbox One. And it was a post on there that made my front page. But they just said it was discounted. I didn't go look at it because I was like, well, I mean, if I'm going to buy it, I'm going to buy it on Steam right now. So,
yeah, especially since you got a good deal on American Nightmare as well.
Yeah, I got both games for $4 with all the DLC and everything.
Granted, American Nightmare wasn't going away yet, but it's this. It may have the same issue.
Yeah,
we don't know now, and it's that doubt in my mind.
Yeah. Well, I'm not as worried because I own it now, so.
Yeah, and hoping that they don't patch it because that's the flip side of things. But I really doubt we'll see Alan Wake on digital sale again, which is disappointing because it is a phenomenal game, and maybe if we see Alan Wake 2 or whatever they call the next Alan Wake game, because there is a rumbling that Alan Wake's coming back. We'll see it then. So maybe that'll be a sign that the new Alan Wake is coming up.
Yeah.
But outside of that, I don't expect to see Alan Wake on sale again.
Yeah,
which is sad.
I don't either, and I agree that is very sad. Actually, they might resell it. Well, no, because they'd have to go in and make the changes anyways if they're gonna. Because I was gonna say they might redo a physical copy of the game, but all of those licensing and
they would still have to do the licensing.
So, yeah.
Yeah, licensing is a fickle bitch, isn't she?
Yeah, she is.
Well, it's the same reason why the last Tony Hawk game absolutely sucked. Or do you know that story?
No, I do not.
Okay, the last Tony Hawk game was sold literally the last day that... oh, shoot, now I'm blanking on who had the Tony Hawk license, but they had the license, and they put it on sale the very last day it was on sale.
Oh, you know what? I do remember that. That's right.
It was exceptionally rushed. Oh, and there was a 7 gig patch. You know what the patch was?
Didn't it? Like
the game.
Yeah, I was going to say, wasn't it the game?
Yeah, the disc itself, this was a console-only release, of course, because it's Tony Hawk, and the PC version, or the PC only got a few of the Tony Hawk games. They only got, the physical copy only has the tutorial on it. So, yeah, you have to have that patch. So if you're not online, you are absolutely screwed if you don't have that patch.
Yeah.
And, it's the same thing. They paid for a 15-year license and didn't expect that the bottom would drop out of the Tony Hawk franchise because they, beat it to death. They beat the Tony Hawk like we beat No Man's Sky.
Indeed.
The only game franchise I could think of that got a worse beating was Rockstar, or not Rockstar, Rock Band. Well, Rock Band, Guitar Hero, the music genre. Because think how many Guitar Hero games there were and how many times the tracks didn't go between the different... Oh, and I'm not just rambling here. That's also a licensing problem. Yeah, the tracks couldn't go between the different games, so you were buying the same tracks over and over and over again. And there were either very small windows or no windows to export the tracks that you bought.
Yep. Because they even had the feature where you could transfer tracks from one game to another, but only a few select titles actually did that because of licensing issues.
Yeah, licensing. I have a feeling we may have an audio letter on this next week.
I hope so. All right. Well,
yeah, licensing. It's one of those things that it's a necessary evil, but it feels like it's strangled the game industry way too much.
Indeed. Speaking of something...
Because if we didn't have licensing, we would have how many Mario games that are, Mario... he's a German plumber in New York.
All right. Well, speaking of other things that choke out the gaming industry, Bethesda's Prey doesn't receive a demo on PC. Now, you might think, that's no big deal. PC games really, there's very few demos, period, nowadays, especially on PC. But the reason that this is a news article is that I noticed that they said, and I'm just going to read this here, it's a matter of managing resources. We couldn't do a demo on both the console and the PC. We had to choose. And besides, PC has Steam. Steam players can just return the game prior to playing it for more than 2 hours. So it's like a demo already. Oh.
You arrogant fuckers. First of all, the Steam refund system, Valve specifically said that it's not to be used like this.
Yep. Bethesda is advocating
specifically said this
for abusing the Steam refund system.
Well, first of all, Bethesda is just... I'm going to say this right here. Bethesda, at least what they've turned into, is a terrible company for PC gaming.
Yeah.
And that saddens me because I absolutely love the older Elder Scrolls games. But what they've turned into... Okay, let's just tick these off. We have Prey, which has no demo, and they're advertising this, and the early reviews. So all the reviews were, or at least the early reviews, were people absolutely rushing through the game, so they're not really good reviews. We have Dishonored 2, which had an abysmal release, technically flawed, out the wazoo. And once again, no review copies, so yeah, everything was rushed. Oh, let's see. Before that was Doom, which, once again, no review copies, even though it was a good game.
Yeah, Doom turned out alright. I think Prey has turned out alright too, but, I always try to be more positive than you. And
really?
I'm a big fan of, benefit of the doubt. Innocent until proven guilty. But, I'm not going to defend Bethesda on this one. I'm not going to play devil's advocate because that's just really shitty.
Well, let's see. Elder Scrolls Legends, which, that's a free-to-play card game. Doom. Fallout 4, which also didn't have some technical issues on release.
Yeah, Fallout 4 has
also known being produced by Bethesda.
Yeah, just the engine they're using for the Fallout 4 is so old. It had a lot of problems.
Let's see. Wolfenstein, the Old Blood... Wolfenstein also had some severe technical issues.
Yep, but Wolfenstein was a great game, though.
Yeah, but once again, technical issues. Let's see, Elder Scrolls Online. I'm just going back through the list of Bethesda games. Yeah, it's just, there's so many of these that have technical issues to begin with, which a demo allows people to see, okay, this game doesn't work well on a lot of hardware, doesn't work well on mine. And a demo would be able to allow people to see that. But the thing is that, okay, well, you want us to abuse the Steam refund system. The Steam refund system isn't a blanket thing. If you abuse it too much, they take that away.
Yeah. Also, I don't understand why they won't... Like, the demo for Doom sold me on Doom. I would have not bought Doom. I probably would have bought it eventually for like $5 in 2 years from now. But I played that demo and I was like, I gotta have this. And I paid, I think it was 50% off when I bought it, because I bought it last summer on the summer sale. But I wouldn't have done that if I hadn't played the demo. And Prey looks pretty good to me. I'm considering purchasing Prey. But, I mean, I'm not gonna spend, 30, 40, $50 on it if I can't, like right now, if I can't check it out. I think Bethesda is starting to get too big.
They're getting too big for the britches. They're getting arrogant. Well, I shouldn't say they're getting arrogant. They've gotten arrogant.
I mean, they're not as big as...
They need to get burnt.
They're not as...
I hate to say this, but they need to get burnt to shake them out of this. I don't want the company to fall. I don't want them to fail. But I want them to lose this arrogant sense that they have. Because they have the Elder Scrolls series, and they have a lot of other very strong IPs that could sell well just on the name alone. And the thing is that it's allowed them to get complacent. They think that they can do anything, and it's not going to matter.
Yeah, I would say Bethesda's about on the same level as Ubisoft now.
What, they have a shitty third-party platform?
Yes. But, Ubisoft has got several franchises that can sell based on name recognition. And they're,
Oh, you mean like Far Cry releasing a logo for their next game and going right to the top of r/games?
Yep. And Assassin's Creed and things like that. But
actually, what I just said literally happened today.
I didn't know that, but I also didn't doubt that you weren't telling the truth. Like, I absolutely could believe that. But so yeah, I think that Bethesda has gotten to around the Ubisoft level. So they're kind of like trailing third, EA, Ubisoft, and then Bethesda in like the shitty companies. Because, I mean, 5 years ago, Bethesda was not like this. I mean, sure, they had Skyrim at that point, and there was some clear different like design steps that they were taking to try and get more mass audience appeal, but the company itself was not like this. They were one of the better companies that were always like, they were one of the first companies to really embrace sort of new media, YouTube, Twitch, that sort of thing back in the day, and they were always helpful and nice to people, and they provided review copies well ahead of time. So, but as the company has grown over the last few years and has sort of reached that level,
I think I know the moment that it lost. They lost their shit
when they did an E3 presentation.
Don't know the story on that one.
No, I'm just saying, like, that they lost. They got too big for their britches when they did their E3 presentation.
I don't recall exactly what you're talking about here. Well, what I was going to refer to was paid mods. Yeah, that's a good one. I think that was the tipping point for a lot of people. I'm just thinking when they did their first E3 presentation 2 years ago, like their first conference. Honestly, it was so forgettable that I just don't recall what they did. I mean, they launched or they announced Fallout 4 and Fallout Shelter, and I think that was when the first teaser for Prey was last year. And it was all CG and had no gameplay in it whatsoever. Yeah, because I remember that. But like, I think that when they decided that they were big enough to do E3, they were big enough to be
the next Ubisoft.
So in other words, Fred the Bow is all around for next year.
And the whole paid mods thing, wasn't that after that E3 that year? Wasn't that in the fall of 2015?
I think it was. Now that you mention it. Chatter away for a moment while I go look.
I mean, I don't know what else to say. Just words. Silences will be edited out.
Summer 2015. I'm looking at articles from April. So right before E3.
Yeah. So they're still connected, I think. I think just that was the year that they were like, all right, guys, we're big enough. Let's do this now.
Yeah, I hate saying that I want them to fail, or I want one of their games to fail, but I think that's really the best way to show them that, they're not at the point where they could just coast along. But that's the thing, is that we are not the general audience. So we can look at these articles and say, well, that's shitty, but most gamers are going to say, who cares?
Yep. That they will. And it makes me sad.
Does it have crates? Does it have booster packs I could buy?
God, those kids. Why? Why would you spend $20 on crates, not get anything, and go, you know what? I'm going to put some more money in and try again on some crates.
Because it's not their money.
Yeah.
That's the thing, is that it's not their money, so they don't see it as, I just spent my money and got nothing, and I got burnt. They see it as, I spent the money I was given to spend on this.
Yep.
It's that little psychological trick.
2 15-year-old kids. Poor kids.
So, speaking of booster packs.
Yeah. Valve makes some changes to the way trading cards are going to work.
Yeah, this was announced just before we started recording, so there's not a lot of information out about this, but this is one of the... Valve has done a lot of interesting changes in the last couple of weeks, or announced a lot of interesting changes. And this is Valve going after what they call fake games. Games that are just essentially asset flips, are meant to just generate trading cards to sell, and the game developer, or should I say, a game developer, and massive sarcasm quotes, makes their money not on the actual sale of games, but what they get from their developer cut on the marketplace. Because every time you sell or buy something on the marketplace, there's 2 additional cuts. There's the Valve cut that is a certain percentage depending on what you're selling. And there's also the developer cut. So if I sell since we just talked about Bethesda, if I sell a Doom trading card, Valve gets a cut from what I buy, what I sold, and Bethesda also gets a cut, because that's an additional incentive to allow them to put out the trading cards, and that's also the incentive for the emoticons and everything else. Well, what happened was that all these really essentially single person development teams, because most of the times these are single people that are just putting out a different asset flips, just buying pre-made assets from like the Unity store or whatever, and putting out basically the bare minimum of a game, putting on green light, getting it through green light somehow. Granted, the green light is a very flawed system to begin with, and once it gets in the Steam store, selling it for $1, and when the Steam summer sale goes on, or whatever major sale goes on, they drop the price down to like 25 cents or 50 cents, and you're able to make that back on the trading cards. Well, they make that money back, and then whatever booster packs goes out, they also make money. And you sell enough of these, and you eventually start getting this normalized income from all the trading cards, and that's what Valve is trying to dip in the bud here.
Right.
I think that's a good explanation of what the games they're trying to go after.
Yeah, no, I think that's a great explanation. So the way that they're talking about doing this...
this is a very nebulous thing. And I think... nebulous on purpose, because they don't want to say, okay, well, in order for trading cards to be available, this much a percentage of gamers who own this game has to play this many hours, or they have to get this achievement or whatever, because they don't want these asset flip artists to know this as easily to be able to trigger this new thing.
Right. So yeah, they've set up a condition that trading cards can be in the game, but they won't drop until this condition is met. And they haven't said specifically what the condition is. But yeah, that's designed, like you just said, to combat the, as they call them, the fake games and the fake game developers from gaming the system. But they call it, I think it's funny, they call it the confidence metric, but the way that they've described it and the lack of information does not give me confidence. Like, I don't know how you.
Well, I think we should read the confidence metric if we can find it on here.
It says the confidence metric is built from a variety of pieces of data, all aimed at separating legitimate games and players from fake games and bots. You might wonder why the confidence metric will succeed at identifying fake games when we weren't being successful at using data to prevent them from getting through Greenlight. The reason is that Greenlight is used by a tiny subsection of Steam's total player base, producing far less data overall, which makes it much more easily gamed. In addition, Greenlight only allows players to vote and comment, so that data is narrow. Steam at large allows players to interact with games in many different ways, generating a broad set of data for each game, and that makes identifying fake ones an easier task. So yeah, like you're saying, I think they're deliberately obfuscating what the confidence metric does and is examining, so that it's at least more difficult for devs to figure out what it is so that they can game the system some more. But yeah.
Yeah, this is very nebulous, and I wonder just how many actual games are going to be caught in the net.
Oh, there'll definitely be a few. And I'm not necessarily going after Steam on this one like I have for so many of their other automated systems.
I understand where they're coming from on this, because a lot of this, they're trying to clean out Steam or make it less lucrative for these game developers to just throw their trash on Steam, because that's the problem with, the mobile market, is that you have hundreds and thousands of games, and it is impossible to go through them all. Steam doesn't have that problem yet, but when they release the Steam Direct system, where there's not even the road bump that is Steam Greenlight to get on Steam, you're going to have just this tidal wave, and they have to try to figure out, okay, how are we going to get it so that the asset flips that are just card generators aren't lucrative anymore, that you have to actually sell your game on the game's merits, and not the fact that, it has trading cards, and that's about it. Otherwise, it's just a picture of a painted wall that someone put into RPG Maker.
Yeah.
Because there was, and they've also went through and cleaned out a few of the more notorious for the fake games. As a matter of fact, one that I saw someone commenting on was Watch Paint Try Simulator.
Oh, yeah.
And it was literally a picture of a wall painted. Let's see. Yeah, it's not showing up on the Steam store anymore, at least with Paint Dry. It was a picture of a painted wall in a visual novel engine, and that was the game.
If only I had come up with that,
and you could sold at least 2 or 3 copies of it.
I'd be rich. Anyways,
no, I thought you wanted to get the Steam trading cards, not generate them and give them away.
If I make money by generating them, I'm cool with that. I'll generate all day, baby.
Yeah, it sounds like we're being negative on this, but that's mostly due to not really knowing what's going on with this.
Yeah, I wish they would give us more information, but I understand why they haven't. And I'm I'm taking a let's wait and see approach with this as opposed to this is a stupid idea, because there are some people who are openly like, as there are with anything, particularly that Valve does, like, yeah, this sucks, you're stupid, you're ruining trading cards, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, I mean, maybe this is a bad move, but maybe it's a good move. And I mean, I don't blame them for trying.
It's going to cut into the bundles that are 50 games for $1.
Yeah. But I haven't played any of those games. Not a single fucking one. I just ran them through
which
Idolmaster.
Is exactly what they wanted.
Yeah, I know. But, I mean, I gained something from it as well. I made $6 off of my $1 purchase, so, I mean, that's a pretty good return on investment. I mean, I guess I had to spend a little bit of time doing it, but not really.
Well, since we're talking about Valve, I'm going to throw in the fact that they're taking down the old forum system in this as well. And I don't see an announcement about this, but it's going to be going away late June, which that's actually something that's very bad. Because there's a lot of old tech support in those forums.
Yep.
As a matter of fact, some of those forums are the number one hit on a lot of, how to get this old game to work.
They're actually going away. They're not being archived.
They're not. They're being just taken down. Granted, I assume that there has to be some sort of archive effort going on, especially since there's about a month worth of time between now and then. Yeah. And also, I imagine. Well, here's the thing: is that it's more was a localized source of, okay, this thread didn't have the answer. Let me try this thread, or this thread, or this thread. Because I'll be perfectly honest, I don't really care for the Steam discussion and the in the different community centers, mostly because it feels like it's more pruned than what the old forums were.
Yeah,
which is kind of a detriment. Also, the search engine kind of sucks for it.
Yeah, the search engine does suck.
It's just one of those things that I understand why they're taking it down, because it's just servers that they're pushing people to the different community sections and not the centralized forums anymore. So it makes sense that they want to take out the servers, but they really should archive this.
Yeah.
And I guess they're just leaving it to the community to do it. As a matter of fact, they originally were just going to pull the plug on it and be done with it. And there was a huge outcry. Like, no! Which I completely understand. I understand both sides of it.
Yeah.
But the thing is that, even the general Valve community center, it is terrible. It's all the trolls in the world.
Yeah.
Even though I do have to admit that if you want some Schadenfreude, go read the VAC band forum.
Go read the what?
VAC bands.
VAC bands. Okay.
Valve anti-cheat.
Okay.
Basically, it's all the people that are cheating or got at least caught by the VAC system on. Usually, CS:GO is the big one. Occasionally, you'll see Dota 2, but yeah. At least I think that's covered by VAC. But you'll see. Oh, I wasn't cheating. My brother was playing, and he must have put something on my computer. It's amazing how many people have brothers that are terrible cheaters, huh?
Yeah.
Or just occasionally just caps lock anger.
No. All right. Are you ready to move on to?
Yeah. Do we want to do the general topics since we're at the 2-hour mark?
Do you want to?
I mean, it does fit in.
Yeah. But there's always Steam news around the corner.
Yeah, true. I'll leave it up to you.
Let's just go ahead and...
Since you're the almighty editor.
Let's go ahead and move on to Community Corner.
Okay, so you'd have to prune the topic list anyway.
Yeah. All right. Well, for our Community Corner this week, the first thing we've got is that...
Well, first of all, we have crickets in the mailbag.
Well, I mean, this sort of counts as a thing. So, yeah, the jokes that we were making at the beginning of the podcast about Amy, one of my coworkers, her name is Amy. I can't pronounce the rest of her name because it's like a legit Japanese name. But she's a Japanese lady who works at the clinic, and she discovered this podcast because my boss discovered this podcast and like was like, "Hey, Jared's got a podcast. It's about video games." Like my boss is a sweetheart. I love Angel to death, and he's like, "Wow, you've got like all these episodes, and like you've got he's like, you must like be a gaming...
but you have that annoying sweary guy.
He's like, you must be like a gaming god or something." And I was like, "Angel, you better be careful not to stroke my ego too much with phrases like that." But so he told everybody, and Amy went, and she's listened to a few episodes, and she's like, "Yeah, these are great." She's like, "No offense, I don't think I'm going to go catch up, because if they're all like 3 hours long," it's like, "No, I understand." And the content gets dated really fast.
To be perfectly honest, the VGL is not a show that you're meant to catch up on. I mean, granted, we do have the occasional inside joke, especially about crates.
Yeah.
But you'll eventually figure it out.
Yeah. But so today when I saw her at the clinic, she was like, she talked to me for a few minutes about the episode she listened to, and she liked the show, and she's like, "All right, I want to ask you a question so that you guys can talk about it on this episode when you record this week." And so her question to us is, what is the best bad game you've ever played? And she said
it took me about a minute to think of it.
Yeah, I'm still not sure what my answer is, and I've been thinking about this for like 12 hours at this point, because I play a lot of bad games.
Yeah, well, the thing is, I also have a lot higher standard. I don't think, I'm not saying that as, well, okay, I am saying that as detrimental to you at the same time, but still.
That's fine, yeah, my standards are pretty low.
Okay, my best bad game I played is a game I actually got in a Humble Bundle called Cortex Command.
Okay.
It is a 2D shooter. Think of sort of Worms. I'll give you a link to it so you don't have to hunt it down.
I've already pulled it up on Steam.
Oh, okay. Well, there's a lot of things I like about it, but then there's a lot of things that are absolutely terrible about it. It's one of those games that it's built by, I think it's a development team. I mean, I'm just looking here. I'm not sure if it's a one-man development team, but you could tell that it's one of those games that is made by a very small development team that it's their vision and nothing else.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of information being thrown at you. Guns that are... it really depends on the mission, because there's different missions. There's sometimes you have to go fight something. Sometimes you just have to hold a base for a while. Sometimes you have to do a little bit of a combination of both, or try to destroy an enemy base. And there's a lot to take care of and juggle, which is just absolutely terrible. They don't have a system that does it very well. There is some friendly AI that you could set up so that your guards on your base will fire at people and that sort of thing, but it's very clunky. And building bases is also very clunky because it's all chunks and they don't really snap together all that well unless you're really used to the game. But then they have all these little neat things, like how the terrain is completely destructible. So you could set I forget what they call the different guys in this, but you could set a guy with a miner tool and dig under the enemy base and come up under and completely catch the enemy off guard. And it's just little things like that. And the AI actually does things like that. So if you have a really strong defense, they'll try to go around it. And also, in order to get money, you have to do some mining. You can see on the screenshots there's gold in the level they have to collect. And then you call in these drop ships. And the drop ships can be shot down. Sometimes they just crash for really no reason. And the dropships are also very fragile, so you have to be careful on where you bring them in, and also how much enemy fire is in the area. So, an enemy can get a lucky shot on a thruster on a dropship. It'll just come down, get a thruster shot out, and just start spiraling, and there goes all your equipment. It's one of those very, very clunky, bad games, but I absolutely love it for some of its design.
Yeah. I'm hearing you describe this game, and I'm going, that doesn't sound like really a bad game, but, that's the difference in me and you.
That's the thing, is that there's a lot of things I absolutely love about it, but it's just the way that it's designed. There's not a lot of a way to handle various things. You have to protect your your brain, because you're essentially a brain in a jar controlling all these different robots. And there's just not a lot of ways to do it very efficiently. It's all very, very clunky. And if you spend enough time with it, it's one of those games that really is done well. It's the Dwarf Fortress problem.
Right.
It's a very deep game. It's a very intense game. And it's a lot of fun when you get past the hump. But getting past that hump is very tough. And for this one, it's not just the interface, because you also have that time limiter where, okay, well, the enemy's coming. Oh, my guy accidentally threw his weapon instead of firing it because I hit the wrong thing on the wheel. So,
yeah. Oh, I'm so torn. I've got 3, and I'm not going to go through all of them like I did last time, like where I cheated and went through all the games, but I really can't decide. So, all right, I'm going to ask for you to decide, not the game. I'm going to just tell you what it is that's going on between the two of them for me. So,
give me the since we have text, you can just send me the names and I can pick one.
No, I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. I want you to judge based on the criteria. So, okay, so I've narrowed it down to 2 in my mind. One of them is a game that has improved through its development, so it's no longer as bad as it was, but when I played it the most, it was bad. And the other one has actually gotten worse, but I still enjoy playing it.
I think the one that's gotten worse, but I want to hear what the other one is as well.
Okay, so the first one, the one that's gotten better, is Kerbal Space Program.
Yeah.
That game, and I started playing it after they had fixed, supposedly, a whole bunch of problems. But I am never stuck with a game that crashed so many times and had so many glitches and issues. And I would get so pissed.
I kind of glossed over all that just because it's a very unique game.
Yeah, but I would get so pissed and lose hours of progress sometimes. And any other game I've ever played that happened, I would at the very least quit for a while, take a break, cool off, and come back to it. And KSP, I'd go, you fucking piece of shit, let me just launch this and I'll do it again, damn it.
I think I got a bit of a tolerance for that with Elder Scrolls. Because, remember, I'm not a guy that plays Elder Scrolls without somewhere like 80, 90 mods.
Yeah.
So I've gotten used to, if I'm really having fun and I have the game set up exactly like I like it, I'm willing to put up with a few crashes.
Yeah.
But then again, I also played KSP modded out the wazoo.
Yeah. I mean, I had some kind of hardware issue, I think, because modded or unmodded, it didn't matter. I still had tons and tons of crashes all the time.
Unmodded, I never really had that many crashes. I had a couple whenever, but those were just extraordinary things, like, hitting the ground at, like Mach 5.
Yeah.
It just hit so hard that all the damage calculations, just broke something.
Yeah. But KSP has gotten immensely better over the last few patches and updates and things. So it's much, 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 much more stable than it used to be. In fact, I played it maybe another 40 or 50 hours a few months ago, 2 or 3 months ago, after the 1.2 update released. And I don't think I experienced a single crash during that time, whereas before, 40 hours of gameplay could be anywhere from 25 to 50 crashes.
Well, also, I made the habit of... I'm pretty sure I installed an auto-save mod where it would auto-save a lot more often.
Yeah.
So I would have, less of a jump. So, I don't think it would auto-save if I was in the atmosphere or if during extreme circumstances, or maybe I just had it where, I would wait for the autosave to go off, then, do whatever. But I think that's the difference between me and you, is that if I know a game is unstable and I'm having fun with it, I'll change my playstyle to try to get around it. Granted, don't get me wrong. There were times I got angry with KSP, particularly whenever I was doing something that required a light touch, and a crash completely negated that. Particularly whenever I was building my Minmus station, because that was early in my KSP time.
Yeah.
And where I way overbuilt my rover and had to have 3 refueling dockings to get the lander down.
Yeah.
Because there was one orbit, because just the fairing was absolutely massive on it, and it was I was using FAR because I hate myself. One to get it in Minmus orbit because that was my testing ground, and one to get enough fuel to land. Granted, I was borderline on getting it landed, so I could have probably done it if I did a suicide burn, but I wasn't good enough at landings yet.
Right.
Granted, that thing did also give me enough time to. I got, I think, 8 or 9 landings, all within a kilometer of one another.
Nice. That's pretty
that's
good.
not bad for someone that had just started playing.
Yeah, no, that's pretty good for a beginner. But no, that's not my actual pick. We've been talking about KSP for like 5 minutes now, but that's not my actual pick. That was the one that yeah, you were like, no, it's gotten better. No, my actual pick is Space Engineers.
Oh,
I love Space Engineers. I mean, I really enjoy Minecraft, but as I've said before and we talked about earlier, I'm a sci-fi guy. You stick a sci-fi theme on something, and that's automatically like 2 bonus points of liking for me. So Space Engineers.
So it's a +2 of liking. Got it.
Yeah, +2 of liking. So Space Engineers is roughly sci-fi Minecraft. It's got some different mechanics that are deeper than Minecraft's in some ways, and things like that. But I mean, basically, space Minecraft. And I love that game, but God, was it buggy. And every update, they made it worse. They broke performance, like in fixing bugs and saying they were going to improve performance. They broke more things than they fixed, and they hurt performance repeatedly. And it just, for a while, it got unplayable. It was so bad. And then
it was unplayable for me for me, playable is pretty much 60 FPS. I could have probably played with you guys whenever you were playing it, but I was not going to have fun with it.
Yeah.
And planets were just unplayable. It was 30 with everything turned down.
Yeah.
And that was before building anything.
Yeah. And eventually I got to that point, but then
that's also my CPU.
But then I got.
I mean, that had to be.
Yeah, but then I got my RX 480, which helped a lot because I had a decent CPU, but I didn't have a very good graphics card. So then I played it again for a while, but again, more updates make the game worse, more broken, poor performance, until eventually I just couldn't play it anymore. But it's been several months, and I've also had another massive PC upgrade with my i7-4790, so I'll probably give it another shot. I mean, there was just an update on Thursday.
Yeah, I'm looking at the news on it, and there's been a lot of updates recently. I'm seeing if there's been a talking about any fixes to it, because that's the thing. Updates are not fixes.
No.
Particularly for Space Engineers.
That is true. But, I mean, I love Space Engineers. I've played it for over 100 hours with oftentimes sub 30 frame rates and things like that because...
Yeah, see, that's literally unplayable for me.
Because I just love it so much, and I love that idea and concept and theme and style and just all of it. Just love it. Completely.
Yeah, I'm just looking at the forums, and there's not a lot of people complaining about performance issues. Granted, that could just be them pruning the forums. Because didn't they do that at one point?
I don't think Space Engineers ever did that.
I know there's been several early access games that have done that. People complaining, oh, well, let's just delete that.
Yeah, I mean, they may have, and I just am not remembering it. But I don't think they've ever done that. But there definitely been plenty of devs that have.
Yeah, it doesn't look like there's a lot of people complaining about performance, but then again, what is the player count on Space Engineers these days? Because that's the thing.
Don't know. I can go look.
Well, I guess we could go find out, huh? Well, let's see. It is 2,000 right now.
That's pretty healthy.
Actually, a lot more than I thought it was. With today's peak of just right under 4,000. Granted, their all-time peak is 23,000. Granted, let's see. That must have been during a free weekend.
It's got roughly the same numbers as KSP does. So
yeah, well, it's catering to about the same crowd as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just looking at this. Looks like they've had a pretty major drop off just this year, because they let's see, December 2016. Yes, I realize that's not this year, but that's before the winter sale. They were at 10,000 peak per day, and now they're at the 2,000, 3,000 mark. And it looks like there's been a major drop off just in the last few days. I'm not sure if that's another problem with performance or what.
Who knows? I'll have to check it out. I'll probably play it this weekend. Wow, that's very different looking at this trailer. When the last time I was playing, they were just starting to add more weapons to the game. But this whole trailer makes it look almost like, well, not all of it, but the first half of this trailer makes it look like a
Elite Dangerous?
A shooter. But I do see some Elite Dangerous stuff in there. Cool. Yeah, I'll definitely have to play it some more. Check out some new mods.
Maybe after the summer when I get my planned update, assuming nothing happens, of course. Maybe I'll give it another shot. I probably want to do it during a free weekend if they do another one, because I don't want to buy a game that I know I've had performance issues with.
Yeah.
Without knowing definitely that will be worthwhile, because I just don't like playing really. I can play below 60 if it's a constant, but below 30 is definitely unplayable.
Yeah, this game does not hold a constant frame rate very well unless you've got really powerful hardware. Even with my setup before the 4790K, I was hard pressed to get a constant frame rate. It would stay pretty consistently above 30 once I got the upgrades, but it was still all over the place. So hopefully they fix some of that. Yeah, Spaceman and I got really far in that. We started a base on the ground and
you and Spaceman
built all the way to space. We played that game.
So Spaceman got to space.
He did. Spaceman got to space. We played that game religiously for 2 or 3 months.
Yep.
Good times. I miss playing that game with friends. I did all of the shipbuilding. I made that massive strip miner, fucking huge. Just drug it along the ground and just dug up everything. But that caused a lot of physics issues because it was so big. It was too big to really connect up to our base, so it was next to impossible to unload. And every time you'd hook it up, shit would break. And stuff would break anyways whenever you loaded the game. Because it would load in and all the physics would fuck up and just stuff would explode.
Well, this is the problem with early access games in general, is that they need to have a certain level of playability to really get anyone to play them or to even buy the damn things. It's kind of the paradox of early access, actually, because early access is meant to be that early play, that playing a game in the alpha, well, usually I would say more the beta stages than the alpha stages, technically. But people look at betas now and think multiplayer stress tests.
Yep. Because
that's really what beta is turned into if you're a AAA developer, is the just that last stress test, a week before the game launches. And there's no actual testing going on. And I don't think a lot of people understand just what beta really means, or what alpha really means, or even pre-alpha. They expect a certain level of polish on these games that just really spend a lot more time getting to that point than they probably should. I wonder how much early access actually slows down game development, because they have to get to a certain level of polish. I know in Prison Architect, there were several months when they were doing the monthly updates where they would do bug bashes, where they would take a month of just trying to fix all the bugs. And, that right there is 3 or 4 months worth of game development that was just spent bug testing and bug clearing on a game that is in active development. I mean, granted, I know the bug fixing is more of a constant thing during game development, and that takes place in pretty much all early access games except the ones that are just dead in the water. But I wonder what how the mindset change is for a game that is an active early access and actively on sale and is actually being played, versus a game that is in about the same state development-wise, but it's not on sale yet.
I don't know. Good question. If we ever find a game dev to interview, we should ask them that question.
You mean the one that I have locked up in my basement right now?
Yeah, that one. I'll get in touch with Taylor. He might know somebody that he could hook us up with. I still occasionally chat with him.
Yeah, I feel a little bit bad about that episode just because his internet connection was very sporadic. So I would jump in whenever I heard a pause, and I would end up talking over him.
Yeah. Yeah, that's part of it. We talk over each other all the time here, too, so.
Not as bad as we used to.
No, we've gotten a lot better at it, but we still do. But so, yeah, that was...
Yeah, good thing no one's transcribing this.
Yeah.
Sorry, I remember the Kerbal transcription project.
Yeah.
Boy, that would have been terrible.
Yeah, that tanked hardcore, that project. Anyways, yeah, we've been on this tangent for a while now. Let's go through the rest of Community Corner.
Okay, well, the question of the week this week was, if esports did become an Olympic sport, which game or games should be included? Let's see, we had Groove popping his head out of his grate and saying Dark Souls speedruns. Kim is saying Necrodancer, Dance Mat, Coda runs. I know what some of those words mean. And let's see, Jim says Rocket League, although I think speedrunning classic games would also be cool. And I think speedrunning would actually be an interesting Olympic sport.
I agree, because speedrunning, I mean, there's a lot of different aspects involved in speedrunning that don't come up in other types of gameplay. So, and
also very particular moves and tricks that they talk about saving frames or saving a second in their overall run.
Yeah.
There was a video that hit Reddit just in the last week or so talking about the speedrunning of Super Mario Bros. 3 and how, because this one guy was playing on the Wii Virtual Console that was running at 59 or 58, 59 frames per second instead of 60 like the old NES. Yes, a console that ran at 60 FPS. He was losing over the course of his run something like 2 or 3 seconds. Just little things like that makes really no difference overall, but whenever you get into speedrunning, and actually one of my favorite things to watch in Awesome Games Done Quick is some of the classic games on the speedrun races, where you can see the progress between these two people, especially whenever they have very different styles. So that would be a very interesting thing. Granted, that's something for the really, really, really hardcore geek, and I don't think would really translate well to the general audience.
Yeah, maybe not. I don't know. Who knows? It might.
Once again, it probably also depends on the game. I think a speedrun of like Super Mario Brothers 1, one of the classics, may resonate more than Dark Souls.
Yeah.
Sorry, Kyle.
Yeah. That's good. I hadn't considered speedrunning, but I think speedrunning is probably, honestly, the best answer.
Yeah, either that or Rocket League, because that's a very simple game. Even though I'm sure Kimus's whatever that is for Necrodancer would be interesting to watch. Even though I have no idea what that is.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean,
since he mentioned Dance Mat, I imagine it's, someone on a Dance Mat, Dance Revolution style. And let's see, our tweets this week, we had 2 from Kimus. We should totes have an original DS game club. This plays a ROM, so it counts. And he showed a hacked Nintendo DS, which handheld does count as emulation, pretty much all the way up to current hardware, right?
Yeah. I don't know how many 3DS. Is there a 3DS emulator?
I'm not sure. It's something I haven't checked on. And then let's see, Chemist. Don't know about my PC. Well, my as in me. But I do know of Two Towers where airplane mode was completely unnecessary. And damn! Making a 9/11 joke.
I'm going to hell for that.
I mean, damn, son.
Too soon. Too soon.
Oh. Well, we just lost the Deep South as our listener base, and New York. And maybe Washington. But then again, I'm sure Washington doesn't like us to begin with.
Yeah, probably not.
But that is the community corner. If you and I actually remember to do the outro for this. If you have any letters for us, you could email them to us at vglpodcast@gmail.com, or our Twitter is VGLpodcast on Twitter.
Indeed. So, now with that out of the way, let's move on to our Discovery Queue.
Yep. Discovery Queue with Doobity Doo.
Go for the theme song. Alright, I need my queue pulled up here.
Yep. Let's see, I get Vanquish right off the bat. Essentially arcade score attack shooter. Granted, I'm not sure if I would really pick this up myself because it's supposedly a very short game, and I love it has a lot of replay value in beating your highest score, but that's about it. But I don't think I'm the audience for this game, so I'll put it on there anyway.
So I got,
and I think you took your name off the Discovery Queue list when you cleaned it out.
Oh, whoops, my bad.
Because I was just adding Vanquish, and I don't see you here.
Well, my first game that popped up, this looks interesting. It's called Landless. It's, of course, a early access survival crafting game.
Oh, and I guess I should say, we should also probably mention how this game is relevant to you. For me, it gave it to me because of Space Marine and Just Cause 2.
Okay.
For Vanquish.
Okay. But so yeah, Landless is a survival crafting game, but it looks like you're crafting a boat. So you've got like this boat base that you build off of, and you have to keep your boat going and go find food and fish and all kinds of stuff. It looks pretty neat, and I mean, I'm a sucker for survival crafting stuff, so I'm gonna put this on my list. And it showed up because I like games tagged with survival and RPG. Which is true. I've got a lot of those games on my list. Whoops. Typed in the wrong spot. Landless.
Yeah, I'm taking a look at a couple of these.
Put that in my wish list.
Okay, so Flint Hook. This is a roguelite platformer, and it looks like you're moving around with essentially the hook shot from Legend of Zelda a lot. Which also it looks like some bullet hell aspects to it as well, or perhaps bullet hell. I'll drop a link in the show notes so you can take a look at it.
Okay.
It has a pixel art style that is very reminiscent of, I would say, early 90s platformers. Very colorful. You can see a lot of bullets on screen. And both friendly and unfriendly. So it's going to be a bullet hell platformer, which is interesting. And they're giving me to this because I played hashtag dungeon, and Curia, which I don't recognize that. It's looks like it's a random review copy that I got at some point.
Cool.
Doesn't look bad though.
So I've got Star Merchant. This is a galactic trading sim game. Looks like it really focuses on the trading bit and not like ship flying or anything. So mostly menus, which I can dig that. I can dig that hardcore. So that's definitely gone on my list. It was recommended to me because I've played many space games. Many down here on the sidebar. Quite a few. So, yeah. Put that on my list. Star Merchant. Alright.
Oh, this is interesting looking. It's called Kindergarten. I'm going to read the little blurb. Welcome to Kindergarten. Have fun trying to learn to share and not die. That's important too. In school, that it's not just quite right. It's important to be friendly and take out those who aren't.
All right.
It looks like it's a survival puzzle game.
All right.
I just dropped it on the show notes so you can take a look at it. Once again, pixel art, or at least it looks pixel arty. And it's an interesting concept, at least. It's in early access right now, and they're giving me this because I played Party Hard, which is about the same concept of trying to take out people that are unfriendly. Only in Party Hard, it's literally everyone.
Oh, hey, Kindergarten just showed up in my discovery queue. All right.
And it looks like you also it's not just Party Hard-ish where you're trying to kill everyone, but it's also you're getting warnings because one of the screenshots shows you didn't take the janitor's warning. Don't take the janitor's warning lightly. Sorry, it has that kind of crayon font on it, so it's a little hard to read. So it's one of those that it's a puzzle game. It's interesting.
So like Farm World.
Also, it's a $5 game, so it's on the budget end of things.
Nice. So yeah, this game is called Farm World. It looks like the old like farming tycoon or farming sim, whatever game. It's like Sim Farmer, something like that. That's what this game looks like.
Well, you have my attention. If it's like Sim Farm, because I like Sim Farm.
Let me look up Sim.
That's another weakness of mine is farming games. And even though I never played Farming Simulator, I do like my Stardew Valley.
Yeah, this looks okay. So Sim Farm is not the game that I'm thinking of, although it still appears to be pretty similar. I know I played a farming game when I was a kid that looked like this.
Well,
What?
I'm sorry, but this amuses me. It's suggested to be Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy, the Telltale game.
Yeah.
This is how's this game relevant to you? Well, you liked Life is Strange, and we mentioned how Life is Strange is not like Telltale, and that just abused me.
Yeah.
I'm not going to put this on the list because it's very niche.
I'm gonna put Farm World on the list. I think I'm gonna check this out. At first, I was like, "Nah, I don't want this." I lived on a farm when I was a kid, but it looks all right. So we got a good list this week.
I think you're gonna love this last one.
Okay.
Let's just put it this way. This is going on your wish list. All right, I guarantee you this right now.
Okay.
Links Up.
Oh, Tomboys Need Love 2 is already on my wish list.
I don't see it on here for you.
Oh, you know what? It's not. I must have accidentally not added it. Because I saw it. Oh, no. I know what it is. I requested this game on Keymailer.
Yeah, I did too.
I'll put it on my wish list though in case I don't get it.
It's interesting looking. I'm not sure if it's going to be any good or not, but it's a visual novel that has a nice art style in it. It says that there's going to be 5 different endings, which is, a lot more than what a lot of visual novels on Steam has.
Yeah.
That's something I've noticed, that a lot of visual novels are either very linear, very kinetic, or their choices aren't doesn't matter too much. It does look like it's has some very dark elements on it, though, particularly a couple of these screenshots, which is interesting. And I do have to wonder if they're doing the adult patch approach, because some of these are censored screenshots. Yeah, the Steam and the shower style,
Yeah, I hope so. I like adult patches.
Yeah, I bet you love the tank game now.
All right,
but it's usually you don't see a lot of tomboys in visual novels as well. So, granted, I'm not sure if they're taking the trap approach where it's actually a boy, or if it's just a boyish girl. Because usually it's very girly girls,
Yeah.
Even whenever it's a situation where you'd expect more of a tomboy, it's usually still the girly girls. So it's interesting to see a different style of romance game, because that's what they're calling this, is a romance. And the fact that they're also leaning on some of the more darker elements. Granted, I'm not sure if this tag is the developer, or if it's just someone having a laugh, but they do have the psychological horror tag on this, and there's not anything here that really screams out joke tags as well. So maybe this is actually going to be a true kind of a little bit of a mindfuck thing, and it is also on the cheaper side of this visual novels.
I'm done with my discovery queue, but I just discovered something outside of that.
This was my last discovery queue game.
Okay. Stay, Democratic People's Republic of Korea. Made by the same people who did Panzer models. Go to North Korea, be a tourist, don't get arrested.
Yeah, I kind of requested a review copy of that.
One of the screenshots, you're, I guess, having a romantic scene with one of the girls, and the devs have very cheekily named themselves Donald Trump. Normally, I think I'd get mad at that, but like this game, I'm like, I see what you did there, you cheeky bastards. That's
also, it seems like, it's just Panzer models that they've developed, but it's also a take on another visual novel. Or do you know it?
What's it take on?
You don't know the joke that they're making with the the other joke that they're making with the title? I'm disappointed in you.
I don't know what you're talking. What?
Go Nippon, my first trip to Japan.
Ah, okay. I see that.
I'm disappointed that you didn't get that immediately.
Nope, didn't catch it. I'm very sorry. Didn't catch it.
How dare you?
I'm not real good at subtleties, okay? I think we've had this discussion before. Over something that was in Go Nippon.
Yeah, you're subtle as a sledgehammer.
Yeah. So yeah, that's Discovery Queue.
But considering how much you love your visual novels, I'm just shocked that you didn't remember that.
I love all visual novels.
Yeah, and then occasionally even a good one.
Every once in a while, yeah. I think they're all good in my heart and in my penis.
Oh boy.
Especially my penis.
Well, it does explain why you like the short ones.
Wink. I like them all, baby. Alright. Well, that's...
Well, as we lost all our viewers now.
That's Discovery Queue for the week. I wonder if it counts as sexual harassment if Amy hears me talk about my penis on the podcast. I don't think so, because it's outside of work.
Well, I guess we're going to find out the hard way.
Penis, 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 penis. Anyways.
And you completely ignored my subtle joke.
Yep. Alrighty. Well, now that we're done with that, let's move on to the portion of the podcast where I go first, which is where I talk about my stuff. So I scheduled every single episode of Divinity that I have rendered and uploaded, so all the way up through episode 32.
So how many weeks is that?
2 weeks.
Oh, 2?
Yeah.
So you're basically doing one a day?
Yeah, except for Fridays for the podcast.
Ah.
So...
Well, considering what I was planning, this may throw a wrench into things.
Why? What were you planning?
Well, I didn't think you were going to do that much. I was, well, no, we'll talk about that when I get to my portion.
Okay. But, so yeah, there's that. And then I've got a couple of other projects that I've started working on. I did some audio testing last night for a couple of things that I want to do, but I'm not ready to talk about those yet. And I'm putting together a list of classic, or not classic, but like PS2 titles that I want to emulate and play and do some stuff with. XSplit's latest update allows it to capture a wider variety of content on your screen, and it can now quickly grab the emulator and just record that. And it looks way better recorded than it does when I'm playing it. So I don't know if it just hooks in and gets it like directly, or I don't know. I don't know what it does, but it looks better recorded than it does when I play it. So that's nice. But so yeah, I'm putting together a list of games. One in particular that I will talk about is a Naval Ops. Like, I mean, I've talked about the game
oh boy, here we go again.
multiple times on the podcast, so I won't go into the game, but I was thinking, like, you know, I've played this game, like, front to back a dozen times. I should do, like, I don't know if it's going to be, like, a tutorial series or just, like, a straight-up Let's Play or what, but I definitely want to do some content in that. And that's where I did most of my testing for audio and visual quality. So there's some of that coming. I'm now doing Keymailer, or like just like you do. So hopefully I'll get some more copies to do some reviews on and some Let's Play stuff. I'll definitely be talking about all of them on the podcast, but I don't want to waste my...
on a strong... well, Graham, you got in on probably the worst time because, you know, it's just before E3 and the Steam sale, so there's not a lot going on with Keymailer, but
yeah,
maybe over the course of the next month, you'll start seeing a lot more stuff.
Yeah.
At least in theory.
Yeah, I'm not going to do individual videos on Smash Pixel Racing and Captain K-On! I'm pretty sure. I mean, I didn't like Captain K-On!, so I'm not going to waste my time with that. And Smash Pixel is so short. I don't know, I could probably do a video in 5 minutes or less and really convey everything about Smash Pixel, so I might do something related to that, but no promises. I got other projects that I want to do that are higher up on my list.
Could rep Katie into joining you.
That would be fun. That'd be fun. But so yeah, that's what's going up on my channel over the next couple of weeks, and things that I'm working on that hopefully will be ready in the next few weeks to start putting up. And if you want to go see that content, you can do so over on YouTube by searching for Gaming Psychologist. If you want to follow me on Twitter, where you can see all the things that I tweet about, you can do so at JMA4707. If you want to watch me stream games, which streams are coming back this week. They were supposed to come back last week, and then I had to do something that I forgot about, but then it didn't matter because my power went out. The power went off at like 8:58 and didn't come back on until almost midnight.
I wish we were streaming last week just so I could get those angry texts.
Yeah. So
I could just imagine, you know, all the anger.
Yep. I was still pretty pissed off anyways. It's like, really? I now live in the middle of town and the fucking power goes out?
Oh, well, my power went out, I don't think it was Friday, but I had my Bluetooth speaker plugged in and it fried it.
Yeah. Either
that or it just happened to die shortly afterwards. So I'm in the middle of talking to the customer support to see if I could get a new one. My poor speaker.
Yep. But so anyways, if you want to watch me stream games on Twitch, you can do so over at twitch.tv/jarthur4707. And if you want to be my friend on Steam, my username is jarthur4707. I accept all friend requests because all of you people are lovely people, and I'd love to talk to you.
And if you add them, the password for this week, just to confuse the hell out of them, is platypus.
Oh, platypus.
Platypus.
Great animal, the platypus.
Yeah, and one of those animals that people thought was fake whenever the scientist was originally sending it back. What the hell is this?
I mean, I don't blame people for being skeptical of that. But, alright, what about your stuff?
Well, this is going to be a chaotic week because unless I really get the urge to play it, I'm done with Halo. Which is a little bit of a shame because I was so close to finishing it. Probably 3 or 4 episodes, but I just have no urge to play it, and I'm just hating it more and more as I go on. Right. So Halo's pretty much done. So that means probably going to figure out what I'm going to be playing tonight. And depending on if I could rush it out, I may do a episode of it this week, or I'll talk about it next week for whatever I figure out. RimWorld Dinghy is still ongoing. It just passed episode 70. I don't know how, but damn.
Yeah, I saw that go up, and I was like, geez, 70 episodes.
I am completely through my name list. My name list is 26, 27 people. And I've covered them all in this series. Granted, a couple of them did get kidnapped, and I've had a few deaths, but I'm up to 13, 14 people in my active colony now. So I need to figure out what to do. Well, first of all, the name list, because I'm out of names, so I may just grab some more, get some the Twitch streamers I'll watch and some YouTubers I'll watch and be done with it. But if there's anyone that wants to be on the name list, well, now's a good time because I don't have a lot of people on it. Actually, I have no people left on it. Either that, or I'm just going to start doing like, Spaceman the Second,
Spaceman Junior.
Yeah, well, he did get kidnapped, so I guess he could have just been, drugged off to a colony somewhere and raped. And just end up recruiting his son.
You could do Mini Shark.
True. But then, the horrible death of Mini Shark may not go over well with Ghost Shark.
Yeah, maybe not.
But RimWorld has stabilized pretty much. Even though I do have an interesting event going on in the last episode. Volcanic Winter.
Oh, fun.
Which is one I haven't encountered yet. So, I'm basically... Well, I have a good food supply right now, but I'm scrambling to try to get greenhouses up and running enough to live off of completely. Because, that is going to cut down on power because I use solar generators still. And, well, obviously, it's going to be tough to grow outside whenever, it's a lot colder. Oh, and I'm also going into winter as well. So, volcanic winter. So, in other words, get the parkas, boys. It's going to be cold outside. And let's see. And Divinity, I was thinking about just skipping this week and waiting to start releasing stuff next week to get more back episodes. Because right now we only have one spare episode. Especially since someone is going to Texas and they didn't tell me about it until 2.5 hours ago.
It's about like 3 hours ago at this point.
Well, I'm just looking at the timer. And remember, I was chattering away for a while. Well, actually, you said it before I started chattering away. So, yeah, I guess 3 hours. But, yeah, get some more back episodes. And it also gives you another week to catch up. So, it'll put you just probably a few episodes behind then.
I mean, I can...
So, it may not be a bad idea.
I can not publish...
No. I was saying that it would give you more time to catch up. So, you're not as far behind.
Oh, okay.
So it works out better for you now that I really sit down and think about it. So I think it's a better idea to hold off for Divinity and start it up next week.
All right.
And, of course, the Sunday Sampler, which has all sorts of random stuff. I may do a visual novel this week. I don't know. It really depends if I get anything interesting the next day or two. Because I have gotten a few interesting visual novels. Created No Tomboys Need Love. But still, a few interesting things. And you can find all of that, including this particular podcast, on Gaming with Caffeine Rage. Or if you want us to see me tweet somewhat randomly about various things that anger me usually, you can find me over at Gaming with CR on Twitter. And speaking of Twitter, you can find us once again over on Twitter, VGL Podcast, or email us, vglpodcast@gmail.com with your letters, voicemails, and gaming-related subjects. If you wish to help pay for this absolute nonsense, you could give us some money on Patreon, patreon.com/VGL Podcast. And if you're, for some reason, not on our RSS feed, you can find us over at vglpodcast.podbean.com, or we're also on iTunes or Google Play. Our intro and outro music is On the Ground by Kevin McLeod, and you can find his work at Incompetech.com, as well as Doobly-Doo on the same website.
And as always, as his lovely music starts to roll across my voice, bye-bye now.
See ya.
Bye-bye.
Here's something mildly interesting. It's not show topic, but Harvest Moon Light of Hope announced for PC.
Nice. They probably...
I love the comments. Harvest Moon, is that like Stardew Valley?
I was going to say, they probably noticed how well Stardew Valley did, and they thought, well, we like money. I guess we'll put...
And also, supposedly, it's supposed to have a lot stronger story than it usually does. Don't get me wrong, I love my Harvest Moon games. But, yeah, they've never been very particularly strong on story.
Yeah. Ready?
Yeah, I finished my donut stick. I have to go get some more, though. When I hobble to the store again. I'm low on my coffee cakes.
Nice. Like coffee
I don't have
cakes.
them all the time, but occasionally, it's nice to have a donut.